Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to, I don't know what this is. This isn't a specific series, but it is the second time we have done this. It is a Simulstream between myself and ItsBaynes. It's 6 AM, and that is an improvement upon last time. Last time I think I got up at like 4 AM or something. It's like 4:30. I was bleary-eyed and drinking beer. This time I'm slightly less bleary-eyed, drinking coffee, soon to be drinking beer. So we'll see how we go. But
I called this series always ItsBaynes, but this is a little bit selfish in this point. So
yeah, date with Baynes. It's true enough.
It's true.
It's true enough. But yeah, we're not really doing anything specific here. We're just sitting down, hunting casually. Some people like to come into 4 Ultimate and do these crazy Hame runs with custom, or not custom, but rather guild quests, and I'm not about that. When it comes to 4 Ultimate, I like to just sit down and do the standard hunts and just enjoy myself. So I think that's going to work well for Baynes because he hasn't played Monster Hunter in recent days, and we're going to do a bit of a warm-up hunt with Azure Rathalos to start with, I think.
Not only added it that I'm a boomer hunter already, I'm already also rusty as hell, so yeah, it comes to my favor for sure. Anything you want to start with at the beginning?
I'd reckon Azure Rathalos will be our starting monster, and then...
Azurelos, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I like that. Sounds like a manageable target for me.
Yeah, sort of like a slightly annoying hunt when he's in the air, but it's, you know, a halfway point between something easy and something difficult. That's what I'd reckon. I'm very much, I should mention I'm very much German-themed today. As you may know, I typically wear, like, heavy metal band shirts when I'm recording. I've got a German heavy metal band, Halloween, on my shirt at the moment. And I've also got a German beer, Weihenstephaner, but I'm sure my pronunciation is horrendous with that. So...
I'm not picking up on that one. my pronunciation on certain English/Scottish or Canadian things is even more worse, so I'm being a patient German boy and just let it go.
That's fair enough. I don't even know what I'm going to use for this quest.
I have a great variety of 3 armor sets I can use.
Yeah,
and on that regard, I'm doing that.
Yeah, for those who are not aware, which is probably all of you, at least on my side, when Baynes was launching 4 Ultimate to play with me, because I don't think he's played 4 Ultimate in some time, he opened up the game to find that all of his armor sets were gone. Just the armor sets specifically. I think I've had that happen with one other game, and it was really devastating. I was very upset when it happened. And so
I was literally... like shocked because it was like 1 hour before we started the stream and I wanted to have a look on my file again, and then all the sets are gone. They were like disappearing, and I was like, okay, I need to get really quickly some sets out of my brain, what we gonna do today, and I made a great sword, a charge blade, and a switch axe set. And I hope this goes a while through.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be fine. I mean, as long as they are armor sets where you can use a lot of different weapons on the same set, it should be fine, I'd expect.
Yeah, I made that.
Yeah.
I thought about make it as all-roundish as possible.
What I'm having to do, I've decided to use a bow, and what this requires is that I actually open a text file where I have a list of what bows I use for what set, because I have spread, pierce, and rapid, obviously, and even an awaken rapid set, and I have different elemental bows for all of those shot types, and there's no way I can keep track of that shit, so I actually have a text file to tell me what's what, so... Weapons. Here we go. It's on my 4 Ultimate Armor Sets text file. What am I using for what? So I'm probably going to look for a rapid dragon bow. What do I use for that? It is... As I scroll through all my crap.
I'm still trying to find the quest for one single brute Tigrex, but it's... no, it's Azurelos. I forgot that one again.
Yeah, that's right.
I wanted to... There's Azurelos. There we go.
Where are my damn bows? I've made way too many lists of weapons in this game. Here we go, found it. Okay, Rapid Dragon is Teostra, Courageous Wish, which is really strange because I'm used to that being a fire bow, but anyway. From 2nd gen. Okay. Also, welcome everyone in the chat, Simply Rome, Ethan, and Autonomic. Those of you who have... Oh, what? Courageous Wish. That is a blast bow, not a dragon bow. Why have I... Oh, I actually cannot read. Rapid Dragon in this case is Stygian Zenoga. There we go. That actually makes a lot more sense. Stygian Zenoga. Which one's that? Caronian Potentia. Do you play the game in German or English, by the way?
I played in English.
Yeah. I guess that makes
German
more
Monster
sense.
Hunter is insanely cringe.
Oh, really? Like really bad translation.
Some translations are very obscure and they don't really display the things correctly sometimes. Some weapons have a German name in general, but which is a little of a Japanese thing. They like to have some weapons like having German names like Eisenwalze or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like Tränenklage. Some of those, I think Shigaru or Gore weapons have this. Oh, Gore weapons have that.
That was what they went with for like the naming theme of Gore Magala versus Shaguru Magala. So Gore Magala will have German names, and then Shaguru Magala has French names. I don't know where that came from, but that's fine. Like I think the great sword for Shaguru is L'Innocence. I can't fucking pronounce anything in French, but the point is that, you know, it's all French stuff, and it gets
we called
really
it always
confusing.
Le Baguette.
Yep.
The Le Baguette. It was a long, thick thing to strike the monster with.
Yeah, well, this is what people don't realize. I think baguette doesn't just refer to the bread. I think it's the shape. So I think calling it baguette is actually possibly accurate. So I'm sure they have a word for sword, but if you said baguette, the French wouldn't go, "What? He's talking about bread," and he would think I was talking about the shape. So, or possible. Anyway, far out. One thing I always need to check in 4 Ultimate is whether or not... Okay, 2 things. Whether or not my bow does power shot, which it often doesn't, and also if it shoots the coating that I want. Okay, it does shoot power coating, so I will ring that. But it's really confusing when you come from, for example, Generations Ultimate or Double Cross, depends on the person, if they're emulating or not. And you're used to all the bows just having power shot automatically. But in this game, your bows are either power shot or arc shot. They can't do both. So, yeah. You think you're doing a power shot and then all of a sudden you're going into an arc shot. Well, it's not the same button combination, but the point is you're wanting to do a power shot and then the functionality doesn't even exist on your bow here because it might have arc shot instead. So, yeah, it's kind of funny.
So arc shot was this like stone rain from above, right? And the power shot was the increased 4th shot, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which is kind of like the bread and butter you want to go for in this game, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that's just going to be better damage in general. Like, having that raining down attack is just not worth getting rid of your power shot. But depending on the bow that you use, like, to explain it from my perspective, when I'm making every element for every shot type of the bow, sometimes you can't be choosy about whether it's going to have arc shot or power shot. So, yeah, I don't have only power shot bows despite the fact that they are superior, in my opinion. So,
yeah,
I do actually have to check to see what the setup is, and sadly this one is arc shot, so yeah, I'm just gonna have to live with that. There is one spot in my item pouch that is just, you know, between my barrel bomb L+ and my pitfall trap, which is empty, and I've got no idea what it is. It's pissing me off. I do not
Shamefully, in For You, I didn't pick up bow that much. I have a very limited sort of weapons I play in For You, actually. I don't know if I can say I'm quite competitive in For You in terms of that I don't use a variety of weapons, but I started a new file with only relic using, and I used lance a lot in there, which is a really weird way to phrase it. And I like the jumping attack so much, I just started to become a lance main in my relic file.
Oh, yeah.
and it is hella fun. But bow is one of those weapons I didn't had in my mind to like test out in that regret. I think I want to check out bow and other weapons in the near future, definitely.
Yeah, bow is a lot of fun. That's actually really interesting that you did a relic-only run. Now, I've had an issue with relics and the fact that they exist at all in 4 Ultimate, but I think it would be really interesting to just do relics only from the beginning, because that's one thing that I haven't bothered with. I've never touched the relic weapons that are not endgame. So, like, you'd be looking at much lower rarities.
There's a cool story behind the relic-only kind of shenanigans that is also a little bit going on Twitch, sometimes on 4U. There was another streamer that tried it out, and it caught me so much because it's a system that exists, and I like those new systems they created in Monster Hunter games, but sometimes they're a little bit sluggish or very low rewarding, and I think Relic would be kind of like fitting in the same category, and I wanted to give it a try also to do a Relic only run so far, and as a stupid little boomer I am not really progressing the game. I'm really trying to get the best of luck from the relics I can farm, and I'm still in low rank, having already used 200 of my hours in this game, and still didn't got anything super crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you can work with them, but the reward table is really, really punishing.
I think for me, yeah, like I say, the way that you've approached it with that run makes it almost like a totally different experience. You're not trying to marry the experience of traditional weapon grinding with the relic system. If you do it exclusively, it almost adds a new dimension to it that I hadn't thought of before. But for me, I just hate the idea of basically taking the talisman system where you're basically grinding for something random and then adding it to weapons as well. And if you're going for endgame stuff, like if you're really focused on getting the best possible weapon in this game, you're just put in a position where you feel like you have to grind for some random weapon that ends up being really strong. And that's really negatively impacted my weapon selection in this game compared to other games where I would be at a similar hunter rank. I've just got, like, normally that's my priority when I'm building my character. I try to get all elements for all weapon types, basically a weapon for every possible situation. And I just haven't done it in this game because I've been hoping to get this good relic. And I'm trying to fix that now. That's pretty much what I've been doing with my save file since I ported it over to PC from the 3DS. And
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I see this issue for sure. And I wanted to test out also the likelihood of getting a relic, like a perfect relic, really like max out stats for the things you can get, and the sheer chances to get something really, really good is so abnormously low.
Yeah.
It ruins the entire fun of the relic experience, and also it's not really solo manageable, I would say. I think I barely know people that have not like the guts, but like the wanting of fighting those 140s to get those super juicy G rank relics they want to. So it was more tend to be a system for multiplayer, or like after all, to have a real challenge in the post game. But the rewards are just not really suiting that much, and it has something to do also with the reward table in specific, because it's so spread across for certain like stats on your weapon. Like getting everything maxed out you want to is like nearly impossible. Like 1 out of 10,000 chances to maybe get like a certain relic you want to is not even. It doesn't feel fair.
That's just one. You know, like that's a single weapon. So
yeah,
you get one good relic in it for a particular situation, and then time to, try my chances again for another one. That's not reasonable.
I mean, the community already spread it across some weapons that are like worth it to obtain for relics, like great swords and charge blades are really good for relics, but some weapons are just incredibly stupid to farm because they have more stats and more things to care about as a relic. Like gunlance relics are things you never want to farm, really, because they have like 2 additional slots on stats that other weapons doesn't have, and greatsword doesn't have this problem. so you more tend to get a better relic on Greatsword than on Gunlance in comparison.
That's interesting.
Insect Life has the same feature. I mean, it's kind of logic if you think about it. Like, the more stats you have, they can be, randomized, the more unlikely it is to get a certain thing. I mean, of course, the Gunlance shellings are always in max level. At least that's a cool thing. But let's say you play competitively, like high-level Gunlancing, you mostly want to have long or normal shells. Spread shells are immediately a no-go. They're not that great, actually.
Okay.
At least from the things I can tell, as I have played Gunlance a while. I don't really like spread shots that much in this game. They feel like not that worth it, I think.
Okay.
There you go.
So I think, so it's wide, long, and normal for Gunlance shelling, so but I always get confused as to what deals what damage. So one is good for Wyvern Fire, one is good for shelling, and one is good for the heavy shot at the end of the combo. I do know that normal is for the heavy shot, but wide versus long I always get confused by. I don't know why.
Long shells is good for Wyvern Fire, which is... Okay. It's like your burst move, so of course it's gotta be, like, quite good. Spread is like for single shellings, but you barely have either the momentum to do single shellings, or you have way more momentum, so you can fit even more damaging abilities, like damaging moves and that. So it doesn't feel really that worth it. So you either, if you have an opening, you either want to do Wyvern Fire or you do full burst, like the 5 shellings in one go, which is getting powered up by normal shells. So in that regard, spread shelling in general began to be really badish, kinda. There's just better substitutes for that.
Yeah, noticeably less useful, but the way I've always approached it is similar to how I was describing the way I use bows before with Power Shot versus Arc Shot. I'm looking to make gun lancers for every single situation in terms of element and status. So what ends up happening is that I'm not even choosing to get long or wide or normal for my gun lance shelling. What I instead do is I just make something that, fits the stat requirements for everything except the shelling type, and then I'll check the shelling type to see the best way for me to actually use that weapon in the hunt. Ooh,
wait,
is that sleep?
Give me a second.
I accidentally did an arc shot, so okay, that went into the mountain, fortunately. Nicely done. That's one thing I haven't done in a long time, sleep greatsword strategy. I do love that. Works so nicely. So hello P-Berry, Beta, and AJ. Welcome aboard. And thanks for the kind words, P-Berry. He was, P-Berry in my chat was here when we did our last stream, like almost 2 years ago. And
oh my god.
he's happy to see us doing a recording again.
Let's go. welcome, brother. Yeah, to get back to Gunlance, to clarify a little bit of the things, shelling is definitely a thing that matters a little bit on Gunlance, but I have to say, if you just, let's say you live in a world you don't use the shelling as a damage opportunity and more of a, let's say, value opportunity. Like you have a final attack, like a burst attack at the end, or a Wyvern Strike thingy. If you live in that kind of scenario, you just pick up the things with the best stats. You play it like Lance in fancy ways. And this is actually the way that it is the most, let's say, damaging in 4U, because shelling damage got kind of mashed down after, I think it was Portable Third. After this game, the shelling damage is a little bit laughable, to be honest. So it feels more like a fancy Lance you play. I think Lance is like exceptionally better. I like the mounting thing you have with Lance. You have a similar strategy you can go on like with Insect Glaive. You just do it in a more cooler way, I think. The approach is funny. But I play Gunlance not really for competitive reason. I play it mostly for I have a lot of fun in this game reason. Because shelling is really cool, especially for Raphalos, which is a shame I didn't have a set here for him.
Yeah, I treat it as another variety in how you play Monster Hunter. I don't really think there's any specific advantage to using a gun lance, you know?
Yeah.
I think there are specific advantages to using a lance. You're right. A gun lance just more feels like a fancy lance. So the thing with gun lance for me is that I have always treated shells as like bonus damage.
Yeah,
I think,
me too.
Now that I think about it, it really was only in Portable Third where I took the time to do charge shelling shots. Like, you're in the middle of a combo and then you start charging a shell. It's because it was a new thing. It's because this is new functionality on the gun lance. I'm going to give it a try. Hey, this is kind of fun, because before you could only shoot once and that was it, and then keep shooting single shots. So that was a lot of fun in Portable Third, and perhaps the damage was a little better there than in later games, but it has to be said that after Portable Third, the only time I used the shooting functionality of the gun lance was with Wyvern Fire and also with that heavy shot at the end of my combo, because that's just what makes sense to me. I think you alluded to it before when you said that if you have the time to be doing like shelling, you really should instead be spending the time to do a full combo and then a heavy shot at the end, because that is a better use of that opportunity for the damage that you can get out. So
yeah, exactly.
That's how I've approached it. It's sort of logical, you want to be efficient with your time, get the most out of the opportunity that you've got, and it's true. Like, I just don't think to use shelling. I think the only use case that I can think of is, for example, with a Rathalos flying above you, and then you do triangle plus circle, and then, do your charge shot into the air to try and flinch him out of the air, which is, that can be effective, but even nowadays, I just don't do that, so, yeah.
You want to bump up to Zerigios?
Yeah, sure. I'm all good for
that. Personally, Gunlance is, I think, one of the weapons that catches people for the fun ways, but if you try to max out Gunlance sets, this is where you drive into insanity a little bit. At least for me. Min-maxing out Gunlance sets is so difficult to do, and this is one of those times you get into a damage calculator and actually do math, which is so dumb. I'm more like a Greatsword / Chargeblade like runner in this game, and those weapons are way easier to like piloting, because you think of, okay, is the monster really angry oftenly? Okay, I definitely need Challenger. Okay, and then you think like this way. You have like 3 facts you want to go through, and then you pick these and these skills, and then you're Gucci. On Gunlance, it's way more difficult, because the first thing is already, do you play with evasion, so you can dodge through attacks and do like the evasion-free little shenanigan you have in 4U? Or you want to do actually earplugs, because you're negating roars and can do more combos while the monster's roaring? You think about those kind of stuff. On Chargeblade, it's always the same. Oh, monster roars. Okay, guard point. It's like this flowchart that keeps on going all the time, and it makes the weapon way harder to pilot in a min-maxing way. But as a casual weapon to pick up and having your fun, having a blast, literally, in life, it's the best weapon ever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think even casually, though, Gunlance can be a little bit annoying because of how limited your mobility is. I've always hated that. I feel like you really have to commit to everything you're doing with the Gunlance, and then you're moving so slow when you have it unsheathed as well, so it can be a very annoying weapon to use if you've got a monster that's moving constantly. Like Seregios, for example, I would never use a Gunlance against him. He is a really quick monster, constantly flying around you. So, something like Dual Blades or Sword and Shield, where you can sheath it quickly, that's a lot more appropriate. But
yeah, Zerigios is one of those matchups I just don't like to play any slow, unmobile weapon towards it. My first approach on him was with Greatsword in my first playthrough on 4 Ultimate, and I was constantly chasing him, and I was freaking out because he was constantly flying and either just walking away or walking towards you, and you're panic diving all the time because you're afraid of him. by the damage he deals, and it was a really messy fight, I have to say.
Yeah. I find Seregios to be difficult even to this day. He's just... The way he moves is a little different to all of the other monsters, and he makes me angry. When I fight him, I feel anger. So,
I feel anger.
yeah.
I can understand that. He's not my favorite either. I think the approach on Sunbreak he has was definitely better, but also not like perfect for me.
I'll also mention, just for my audience watching the live stream, please give me some feedback on the game volume. I've kind of got everything running through the same channel right now, so I've got Baynes and the game running at, like, you know, different levels obviously, but on the same line of audio, which is my computer output. So let me know if the game needs to be louder or quieter. I think I've got it reasonably fine, but yeah, feedback would be appreciated for sure. Oh, haven't used dual blades in ages. I have to say, I was describing dual blades as good, as like against mobile monsters, but that's one thing with dual blades. There's this assumption that it's a really mobile weapon type, but it really is only insofar as you can sheath it really quickly. Like, when you've got the weapons out, you don't feel that mobile, like compared to Sword and Shield, for example, because it is one of those weapon types where when you start attacking with them, you have to commit, and it feels like you're stuck in a combo all the time with them. So I don't think they're that good for evasion, for example. But I could always be wrong.
Normally my pickup weapon for Seregios would be always Switch Axe. I just like the mobility with it. The thing on Switch Axe is you need a certain skill to really play it the way I play it, which is evade distance. This skill makes this fight insanely funny.
Okay.
Because you can approach the Regios constantly if you want to. Without evade distance, this fight is a chore, because you waste so much time or like so much stamina on gap closing to him. You will lose track of him all the time. When he just thinks of jumping twice in a row, you just can't like gap close to him, which is quite annoying.
I'd say you could just almost cheat and use ranged. Just ranged weaponry.
Yeah, also
don't ever deal with this shit.
But then again, I don't like to play gunning too much in for you. I like heavy bowgun a little bit, but I think the reason for liking heavy bowgun is more of a... I like to cheese with this weapon a lot, which is normally the thing I do with heavy bowgun in nearly all the games. I don't like to play it casually. It feels bad to play it casually. But it's effective in killing monsters quickly, so I think that's the way I see heavy bowgun state. Which is often also a thing for people to call out heavy bowgun as a cheesy gunner weapon a little bit, and I rolled into that.
I hate that attack. That is my least favorite attack. He's just sort of flying just out of your field of vision, and there's just claws coming somewhere. It's a nasty attack. Yeah, I only play Monster Hunter casually. The last time I played... Well, I don't think the word is professionally, but, you know, doing runs, min-maxing, trying to get the fastest time on a quest, etc., was back in Monster Hunter Tri. And I think I just played way too much of that game, and I just got burnt out on that sort of play style. And then eventually, my whole attitude to Monster Hunter changed, and I've really only ever played casually since then, so... Yeah. It's just been...
I mean, it's a taste of game you can have. I mean, I started to play casually playing Monster Hunter 2, and I still do it at the very day. It's just sometimes getting a little bit in detail in the game, like doing the super nerd dive into the pool of wisdom is something I'm just really fond of. It's just a nerdish thing, and I grew up with that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it is not a place that I would reckon to everyone to do. It can be also super stressful if you really want to like competitively reach a certain time for something and you don't get it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Like, you'd have to deal with the frustration of that, and yeah, I think it takes a certain type of person. Like, for me, I don't like deeply analyzing the most damaging possible loadout. the best possible weapon with the perfect strategy, I just go for something that works. Because, you know, I'm not looking for the strategy, I'm looking for a strategy, just something that's viable. And then that way I don't have to worry about dealing less damage. I think it's a bit of a curse to focus too much on the best possible damage in Monster Hunter because it really limits your options. And even if you choose not to focus on that, you will always, in the back of your mind, be thinking, oh, I'm not dealing optimal damage right now. And
yeah, this is a curse of a speedrunner a little bit. You feel like when you do progression, you feel annoyed by the game. This is something that can curse some people's mind and that they get like burned out of Monster Hunter. And if you being the complete opposite, just having the fun of your life in the journey you do, and you don't really think of like being a genius and being insanely good at the game or whatever, you're just having a blast doing so, which is a way more healthy approach to the game, I think. And that's why I think the speedrun thing in Monster Hunter in general is a very niche thing, actually.
yeah, well, that's why it's mostly the Japanese doing it. I think that's just how they consume video games. I mean, of course, there are casual people over there, but
that's the thing. Yeah, Japanese people in terms of video games, they consume the media way differently than we European / American, or even like I don't know, if you're in the North Pole, they do it different to all the people.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting in your ice cup, you know, and playing some Monster Hunter, and it's cold outside, there's always a 7-year-old Japanese dude that is always better in the game than you. It's kind of that thing.
It's how their brains think almost. I think they are always looking to have the best possible loadout in whatever game they're playing. Like, how do they find some combination of weapons or strategies that just completely destroys the game? You know, that's just how they operate. You see it, like, I think probably the only example of online gaming where I have actually played with a predominantly Japanese community would be Mario Kart, interestingly enough. And they are the most...
Mario Kart?
Yeah, those are the only... Like, it's the only online game where I've played with mostly Japanese people, and they are just built different. The way they play is insane. They are so aggressive. They will just annihilate you, and I'm just sitting here having fun. Like, everyone else is just, you know, they'll occasionally, you know, mess you up just for competitive reasons, but they will, it's like a laser focus attack, and they just want to destroy you at every moment. And I'm just sitting here going, why? Just
and
why
always
are you so
selecting
aggressive?
Rainbow Road
Yeah,
just to annoy people.
Well, I do like Rainbow Road in most instances, but the thing with them is that, like, and I'm not going to get on a deep Mario Kart conversation. I think some of my audience know that I get very salty about that game, but for various reasons. Okay. But, you know, I try to be a principled Mario Kart player. I'm not going to mess my fellow racers up all the time. You know, if the opportunity presents itself, yeah, I'll go for it. It makes sense. But the Japanese, they play differently. They don't just take the opportunity to attack other racers. They will look for the opportunity. That is the whole reason why they are racing. It is to completely fuck up the competition. And I hate it. Like, it's so annoying. But, yeah, it makes me realize that that is a game designed for them, more than anything else. And, you know, you translate it to Monster Hunter, they're not looking to kill the monster and have fun. They're looking to completely fucking decimate the monster in the most effective way possible. I mean, you will always have those casual Japanese players who don't really care one way or the other, but it's definitely a Japanese sort of theme, a characteristic of that culture of people in video games where they're just going to do that. It's all about the min-maxing. So, yeah.
I mean,
funny to see.
The most Japanese video game I played was, or is definitely Monster Hunter Frontier. And even like if you play regular Monster Hunter games, I have to say some Japanese people also with the way they're playing, it has a little bit of an arrogance with it too. They want like min-maxing and doing things really, really fast. They basically kill every monster with Hame playstyle. There's a light bow gunner that supports the people, and they do like the most damage ever and do trap spam and all those kind of things. This is how they play Monster Hunter, which is okay. It is fun for a certain degree, especially for the first day if you test it out, but it starts to get insanely boring if you do it on every monster possible. This is something I encountered on Try Ultimate, where you can basically speedrun every monster with this Lightbow gun set and a dual blade set in lower than 3 minutes when the Lightbow gunner knows what to do. It is like a flow chart you keep on going through, because the dual blades player has to do the same thing. By the way, I was always a dual blades player. I was a numbnuts that was always pressing X and A all the time to just do the demon dance combo and just annihilate monsters in heroics and stuff. And the Lightbow gunner just KOs, stuns, sleeps, paralyzes, traps, all the things at once. Which is a curse in the game. This specific weapon exists in nearly all the Monster Hunter games before World, and it kind of like destroys the experience with Japanese Monster Hunter players.
It's God's Archipelago. It's the ancient light bowgun where you can shoot crag shots and paralysis shots.
Stupid, heavy, or like light bowgun in existence.
Yeah.
And nearly every game has this weapon.
Right back
and
to first generation.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. I mean, you don't see much of it outside of the Japanese community, fortunately. You do every now and again, but... Yeah.
It's funny when you do it on Hunsterverse sometimes, because people are so shocked about how much crowd control you can deal on a monster. And every fight started to get incredibly easy. It's only a problem when you want to do the bombing strats on the monster too while it sleeps, because in terms of that, it's the optimal damage to deal. But you know Hunsterverse, right? There's a bomb, and they go laser focused with their hat into the bomb just to create chaos.
If you ever... the greatest mistake you can ever make in a Monster Hunter community is trying to have like a strategy that involves all of the hunters while you're in Hunsterverse. Like, you just don't even bother. It doesn't work.
Don't do that.
Yeah, like, I'm not even talking a complicated strategy. I'm talking like, you know, like having a huddle with everyone before the hunt and saying, okay, when this happens, do this. No, it doesn't work. You just can't. They will play how they like, and you just have to deal with that. No strategy allowed.
Okay. Give me a second. I make him a little bit louder then. So he should be louder now.
Hello, hello.
Yes, Skyrim, this is an emulator. And I would never fight Gogmasios with a blunt weapon. It is... Oh, you soloed Bomb Gog with Hammer without cats. Congrats to that. I would never use blunt weapons on Gogmasios. I have a look. I had a look on the hit zone values on this guy for blunt weapons, and I immediately jumped away from it. Immediately, I was like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that. It is awful." You want to do Brachy?
Yeah. Were you thinking standard Brachydios or the
normal?
The normal. In that case, I've actually got Ukanlos. I was thinking of doing Ukanlos. Maybe we can do Brachy after that.
Yeah, sure. We can do Ukanlos. Just have to think what kind of weapon I play for this dude. I guess we do this. And sorry for the late response. My Twitch chat for certain reasons is not loading, so I have to reload it once a while. My apologies.
Good old Twitch.
Yep. I love this platform in the internets a lot. Ooh, Fatty Irregard. I love that hammer.
Yeah. It's pretty too.
It looks like a birding hat.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. It's got those cold horns. You're beating on the monster with a Fatalis head. I like that idea. One thing that I did like with 4 Ultimate was those combination skills that they introduced. I think that might have actually originated in Frontier, but the idea that you just work towards a single skill and then you'll get multiple benefits out of it. I think that's...
I have to say, I think that they started on Tri-Ultimate with that, but it was barely necessary in this game. And people didn't really pick it up because it was either out of their grasp or it was like a full set of armor. And when you have a double skill, you also had a negative skill when you're wearing a full armor set. And it was always downgrading the double skill a little bit, which a little bit lost the spice of it. And in 4 Ultimate, I think they made a good approach for it. But in a very post-game scenario, you don't want to really go for double skills. But I like the idea of that. I think they missed it in future games because it started to get really complicated because people were always looking up for, what does the fleet feet skill do again?
Yeah.
What does the brutality skill do?
Yeah, it does make creating an armor set way more complicated, definitely. It didn't really start in 3 Ultimate, in my opinion. Those skills did exist, but a very small number of them, like Honed Blade, for example. And even that didn't originate in 3 Ultimate. That was originally Stellar Hunter back in Freedom Unite. So,
correct.
As far as like having all of these skills, like for example, Brutality, Fleet Feet, I have a skill called Heavy Hitter, which I think is Stamina Thief and Knockout King. Could be incorrect.
That's correct.
Right? Yeah, okay. So that's an example of having lots and lots of these skills to choose from rather than just, you know, a one-off, like a special skill that you can only get with a specific armor set. And they completely changed Honed Blade in this game. Like, talking about the balancing of skills, I'd say they probably made Honed Blade a little too easy to get in this game. But that's alright. I think the hunters are just really, really strong here because of level 140 guild quests. So, yeah, I suppose it makes sense when it comes to that.
Yeah. But I think the double skills thing was, as you said, something that was already being in earlier versions of Monster Hunter. But in Frontier, they kind of like made it extreme. There is an armor skill that has 9 skills intent to it. And the thing about that skill is it can add up to the regular skills too. So let's say the skill has sharpness +1. You can have sharpness +1 in your armor set too. So you have sharpness +2 basically. And so on. You can have attack up super duper large for the armor skill, and you can get it also by that skill. It's called Solid Determination, and this skill is just brutal. Okay, this is Ukanlos in for you, and I completely forgot about how to dodge that attack specifically.
Well, if you're standing really close to it, it's a nightmare. You can't really get away from it if you're right on top of it.
Is it like you have to run straight away from him, or is it like you have to jump in a certain moment?
So jumping, I think you can possibly survive if you jump in the perfect moment, but it's not the best idea because you do have to be really specific about when you do it. As long as you are running to the side and you don't stop, you will get out of his way.
I see.
So, with the understanding that that works, doing a dive is a pretty bad idea. I don't hammer this monster very often at all, so this is a bit of fun, actually. Well, actually, I don't use hammer very often in general.
I don't dislike it in 4U. It plays well, but it doesn't feel as strong as the previous versions, I would say. Alright, he tries again. Yeah, and he hits.
I will support you with the Dust of Life.
Thank you, Anton Boat, for the follow.
Yeah, I much prefer Ukanlos in this game to, say, Freedom Unite, for example. In Freedom Unite, he's just really annoying. He's got this ridiculous tail attack where if you're in the same dimension as Ukanlos when he's doing that tail swing, you'll just turn into a snowman.
Same dimension.
Yeah. It's the largest possible hitbox for a fucking tail attack ever. I guess because he kicks up snow with it, so the idea is it's almost like splash damage. Super pound on the tail.
Oh, not again. I just lay here and hope he will get away. Yeah, he does.
You're having really bad luck with those attacks.
Yeah. I completely forgot about the dodge pattern of that attack too, so I'm testing out things, I guess.
Yeah.
Woo! Is this a panic moment? No, not yet.
I don't think he's actually aimed for me with that attack yet.
Nah, he was always going on me. He found his victim with me.
Yeah.
Time to cut the tail off so this thing doesn't reach me.
I'm hungry for my KO. Is he gonna go for me this time? Yes, he is.
Yep.
Oh, the worst case scenario is, yeah, so the reason why I got hit there, which I was expecting, is the terrain where you're forced to jump. That's terrible. I think they designed that deliberately. So as long as you can continue running, you're fine. But if you end up jumping off a little ice shelf, that's a pretty likely scenario for you to get hit. So that's really fucking annoying.
Oh, that was a quick charge.
This would be a good situation to use null berries, because this ice blight is making my hammering really nasty.
Yes, chopperu.
Where's my KO, Carlos? Ah. That's the classic, standing too close to his face when his head is coming down. You end up getting hit. Beta, I can't really think of a version of Ukanlos where his swimming attack was particularly difficult to avoid. I think it's pretty much always been the same. I don't remember there being a huge difference between this game and Portable Third when it comes to that. There is a strategy, and it's pretty much the same for all of the games. But you could be right, and I just haven't noticed it, or I've forgotten the difference. But I've always used the same
strategy. They changed it twice, the pattern of it. I know it's different than on Freedom Unite, but
yeah,
I'm not sure
Unite,
what the exact difference was exactly.
Yeah, so in Freedom Unite, he doesn't actually charge after you like that. Sorry, I keep hitting you.
All good. Give him something right in the kisser.
Yeah, in Freedom Unite, he will just sort of pop out of the ground. And you just have to try and not be standing there.
I have a fun topic to talk about. I just thought about it. Sure. I always wanted to make a quiz show on Monster Hunter.
What kind of show?
And I want to call it a quiz show. Like a question show. And I want to call it Who Wants to Be a Bazillionaire.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. I was too busy talking while you were talking.
Okay. Oh my god, he jumps up this cliff.
Yeah, that's actually quite funny. He leapt over the cliff.
For such a chonker boy, he's pretty sporty.
Well, he's supposed to be a flying wyvern, actually.
Oh no, don't hit me with that. Imagine this thing has wings, like...
Yeah. Wait, so what kind of quiz show were you thinking of?
Like a Monster Hunter quiz show, and calling it Who Wants to Be a Zenionaire.
Oh,
And
as any,
I don't know what the reward for the contestants would be. Maybe, I don't know, like a free day to Banes or whatever. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't thought
that's
about
it.
more about that, or more with, you know, filling the thing with questions that are good. And I think the differences on Ukanlos would be something good, like something deep talk about the lore maybe in Monster Hunter, or like just the sheer questions about what is the release date of 4 Ultimate for the American version, like that.
I think that would be
Stupid
more
questions.
appropriate. I think, like, lore questions, you could get so obscure with that just no one would know the answer. So, yeah, I don't know. Whereas, like, release date for video games, I think it would be unfair to get it down to the day, but the month of the year? That would be, I think, appropriate. I can remember some of those. I think Freedom Unite was September 2009 outside of Japan, something like that. And then
Oh my god.
it was like
That is a
October
good
2000.
question.
Yeah, it was like October 2008, I think, in Japan, something like that. Again, it's just a guess. It's a quiz show. But yeah. Or maybe it was April 2008 in Japan. Anyway. Some people will actually know that weird trivial information. But then I suppose there will be people who are really invested in the lore who will know the really obscure stuff about that as well. I've never been that invested in the lore of really any video game, but also Monster Hunter. I focus on playing the game, man.
Real gamer.
Yeah. I don't need story, I just need game.
It's the same kind of thing. Oh my god. I just got a raid. Thanks for the raid, referee. I appreciate it. And welcome, raiders. Hope you're doing amazing. Oh no, don't dig again.
I'm sure he's going to attack you. Yep, I can just stand here and relax.
I can't. Oh my god, bear with me, you fat fuck.
Oh wow, twice in a row. See, this is really bad. I feel terrible. Hold on. Oh, you survived.
Yep.
If you died there, I would have felt really bad because I was just casually carving the tail while you're being...
The bad behavior.
Yeah. Not a team player.
At least you brought the life powder.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I usually never bring life powders, but in this game, Dust of Life is so effective that I just have to bring it. It's so good.
Yo, guilty crew, welcome. Hope you're doing good. She. I should definitely heal. Playing ballsy the last 1.5 minutes with really low HP is not that healthy.
Yeah.
I just love the limping of Ukandos when he topples like that. It looks so mighty. Oh no.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
That's why I like those chunky boys to fight. I just love it.
Yeah. Oh god. There we go again.
Okay.
Can I get my golf swing? No. I do not have that much stamina, which is really stupid. I don't have any stamina recovery items, and I am using a weapon that relies on stamina. I mean, oh, there you go. See, this is why I don't bring stamina recovery items. It's because the monster's dead before it becomes a problem. That's
In the original cases.
Yeah. Well, that's all well and good until the monster doesn't die quickly, and then I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I feel like the for you HP thresholds are pretty okay in multiplayer. They're good balanced, I think. They don't feel too tanky even if you play solo. I just feel like the 140s are a little bit excruciating when you play solo on them. But on multiplayer, it's fine, kinda.
Well, the 140s are just not designed for single player. I mean, yes, you can technically do it, but that makes sense in a situation where, with the right strategy, you can solo a monster in 2 minutes, you know? So, level 140, if you have the same strategy, maybe that would take 6 minutes. Or maybe a little more, I don't know. I'm not sure what the fastest solo time with a level 140 monster in solo is. Well, I said solo twice, but yeah, I don't know what that would be, but surely they can't get that done within 2 minutes solo. That would be crazy.
Yeah. There are like certain strategies like from Japanese runners with Hame strategies to defeat monsters with 4 people, or like solo hunts, and I think the record for solo hunting Brute Tigrex, level 140 with Charge Blade is like 4 minutes, I think, 4 or 3 minutes.
Wow.
But you have to think of, you have to play insanely well and consistent. Anything can kill you, even the flinching from the boy.
Yeah.
He just turns around and hits you, and you detach.
That's definitely a heroics
thing.
One, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The way I imagine it is, okay, that's a level 140 quest. Now imagine if the exact same strategy and the exact same perfection of timing was recreated with a standard monster.
Yeah,
like it would just
they die like paper.
Yeah, that would actually be insane. It's funny, I just got heroics.
I have a 330 on regular Brute Tiggy with the Charge Blade set I have, and this time wasn't insane, but in comparison to like how I say regular people hunt them without any strategy, picking the best weapon option or whatever, it was a solid run. But 330 for 140 quest is disgusting.
Yeah, very much so. We'll do Brachydios this time. I'd encourage you to post before this Valen guy can. I don't mind doing a quest or two for Valen, but yeah.
Yeah, we can, if he can post too. I don't know if he's in chat or not.
I don't know.
I
mean,
don't mind
your
either.
Stream, but don't think he's in mine. He's probably just a
I know a guy
guy.
called Valen, but I don't know, is it the Valen?
Don't know.
Me neither. Alright. So post a quest and then we go.
Yep. Works for me. Actually, damn. I have an interesting set that I have here that I only just realized that I had, but I don't think my weapon is fully upgraded. I need to check. It is. Okay, excellent.
Okay, let me reload Twitch chat real quick, so maybe I missed a message or two, which is normally a thing. Hey, Roach. Yes, Wax player. Huh? Of course. I am a big Switch X player. I play this weapon since it came out, and even if it was really janky at the previous games, I still love it. Not that I'm excruciating good with it, but I think I'm pretty used to the weapon. I'm normally liking weapons that look like axes or big, insanely big swords. That's like my vibe. I don't like those tiny swords. They look like... oh, he posted a quest to 2 Shrouded Nercillus.
Yeah, I think that's actually an urgent quest, so that's probably his urgent quest into G3. I'm happy to do that next. Hopefully he doesn't become dejected by the fact that we're not doing his quest. But yeah, I'm happy to help him out. But we did... I had Brachydios in my mind, so we'll do that first and then...
I just like Brachy matchup with Charge Blade, that's all.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't like. It's a Brachy matchup with Gunlance, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yep.
I'm in the mood for some pain. Some harm. Why do I not have any Farcasters in this damn game? That's crazy. What's wrong with me? What's the combination for that? It is...
It's a shroom and bomb material.
Yeah, Excite Shroom.
A purple shroomy.
Wow, I have 7 bomb casings. I am material poor. I swear I just combined for Farcasters, and now I can't find them. Am I going insane, or what? Whatever.
By the way, Twitch chat, if you have any questions about me or Doomlink here, feel free to post. I try to reload the chat all the time and read it. Don't get the feeling I'm ignoring you. I really don't be the guy, but somehow Twitch chat is not loading correctly today. So
I'll leave you guys to it for a moment. I need to go to the bathroom.
Sure. Do a pee break. Okay. Let's see if we can charge the charge plate a little bit here. And helping out the Valen dude. I know that Bracky's up there, but I tried to fill the charge blade before the fight actually started. But it's not a thing we can do here. Would probably be a good time to load chat real quick. Nope, all good. So, Brachydios. Good tailspin. Do I get punished? Yes, sadly. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, the jumperoo. Oh my god, I hate when he randomly focuses someone. Okay. Okay. At least his slime blight gets away by 3 rolls, or like 2 rolls, I think. I think it was 3. I think I forgot to count. That's the moment when you play charge blade, you forgot everything you do pastly. Just fully concentrate on the weapon. Until the point you don't hit shit. Okay. Okay. Another explosion. Apparently he doesn't like Valen that much. So. Jesus Christ. Constantly running away, the dude. Okay. Not gonna guard that one. I thought he would do a swing so I can guard point it and do finally some damage.
I'm back.
There we go. Welcome back.
Ethan, my good friend in the chat, seems to think that I just took some time away from the live stream to go and pump the Plesioth, which I'm assuming means masturbate, but anyway.
Okay.
The thing is, he's one-upped himself. Yeah, he's one-upped himself. He usually tells the chat that I'm pooping when I go to pee, but this time he's taken it to the next level. He's my one and only moderator in the chat. That probably says something about me.
Oh my god.
Oh no, he insists that it means pee. Pumping the Plesioth. Okay, that's an interesting one.
Of
I guess it
course.
makes sense.
My mind was a little bit dirty about you, but don't mind me. I'm a disgusting, pervy German.
Well, no, I think it's reasonable to assume that pumping the because the word pumping, right? That's what it is. But anyway. Yes, P-Berry, you can be. I'll deal with that a little later.
Does he do it twice in this game? This charge thingy? This laser beam thingy? I forgot.
Laser beam thingy.
Yeah, where he sticks his head on the ground and does a beam like in front of him.
I don't think he does it twice. Not that I can remember.
At least I didn't see it twice yet.
Well, he did 2 jumps in a row, which fucked me up.
That's when you play Frontier, you're always expecting monsters to do more than just one attack.
Yeah. I still need to get into Frontier, I'm sure I'll do it soon, but... Well, I have technically played it. I remember when we last did a live stream almost 2 years ago. I hadn't yet played it, but I have played it, and... You know, it's fun, but it's definitely not the same as a mainline Monster Hunter experience. It just... I think because of the G-Rank update, all of the non-G-Rank stuff just feels really trivial and unimportant. They're almost rushing you through the game. And
yeah, that's the community edition, that's why it's like that. But there's a replicating now on Frontier going on. They try to replicate the old system from Frontier, so you play like they call it the original Frontier, and I'm kind of interested into that one.
Well, you see, that is what I would like to play, because that was when I became interested in Frontier. It was back when 2nd Gen was the newest generation, when I got into Monster Hunter. And I remember seeing that there was Monster Hunter Frontier for the PC. And yeah, that was when I first became interested. That was before it went ultra anime fucking crazy, running around with your greatsword and all of that. So I would love to be able to experience that as well. To be honest though, it's probably very similar to the other 1st Gen games. Oh, sorry, 2nd Gen games. And the reason why I'm probably not into that right now is because I'm actually struggling to bring myself to play Monster Hunter 2, as in Monster Hunter DOS, because I've already played so much of 2nd Gen in Freedom Unite and Freedom 2 that it just sort of feels like I'm playing the same game, but just with a weird twist to it. So, yeah, it's just becoming a little repetitive for me.
Yes.
A case in point, I still haven't done any sort of shooting with my gun lance, but that's actually my terrible play. I really should have done a Wyvern Fire much sooner than that.
All good. Oh, I thought he would be closer than that. And immediately die on the next hit.
I feel like I barely contributed, but anyway. What has this Valen guy been doing? I haven't seen him hunting that much. Has he been mining?
I don't know.
Maybe he died. Let me check.
Maybe he liked
No, he
to get carried a bit.
Maybe he's
because
scared.
he was constantly flying away. Yeah, with a mono S armor, I would be scared too.
Where the hell did he go? How has he gone in a direction where we can't pursue him? He's just digging. He doesn't look like a very
subterranean
subterranean
I find it relatively
monster.
unnaturally for him to just dig.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course, it's ridiculous, but if he's going to dig, you would think he would only go one area away, surely. What the fuck? Where is he gone? Oh, Valen's not having any problems. Man, this guy's carrying us. What a king.
He has the natural hunter senses.
Just for my chat, for both Ethan and Peaberry, there is almost no moderation to be done in the chat, so don't expect any sort of workload, Peaberry, don't worry.
Oh, Brekkie Gem in Tri-Ultimate, I would probably do a backflip now.
I think we had that conversation when we last were doing a live stream about how it's so hard to get a Brachydios gem in that game.
Yeah.
It's miserable.
And the fun thing is to actually properly farm it, you have to do the quest with the least Brackies into it, which is the one quest you fight 2 great baggies and 1 Brachydios. And you would not expect that quest to drop gems like most likely because, hey, there's only 1 Brachy of it. So you do the 2 Brachy quests all the time, which has actually the lowest drop chance of all of them. This is Capcom fooling with us a little bit there. But it's fine.
After saying that my chat doesn't need to be moderated, all of my regular viewers are creating a scenario where heavy moderation needs to be done. Not really, but they're threatening to do that.
When it's all bantering and threatening, that's okay. As long as it doesn't come reality and we have to pick up the big ban hammer.
I just ban all of my regular viewers. Alright. Double Shrouded Nursilla.
Time for some swaggy axing.
I'm being threatened in the chat with an ancient Wyverian slur, which is interesting. I don't know what that's about. Some sort of... yeah, because I've been told that there's going to be some deletion of racist, sexist expletives, and...
What the hell? Okay.
I'm especially scared of the ancient Wyverian slur. I don't know what that's going to sound like.
How can you be that nerd? It's like I would get a your mom joke, but this is just out of the chamber, man. You need some sunlight. Get the hell out of there.
Oh man. It's like the you think you're a nerd in Monster Hunter, but then there's this other guy who's learned how to speak ancient Wyverian.
Hitting you with the Monhan language, which is just a bunch of gibberish matched together. They phrasing like 2 sentences, and the actual thing they say is "good job." Just to sound more anime. Oh my god. I mean, I love Monhan language, okay? But if they go like, Hasirisu, Habanyazo, Hayam, Moya, Sunny.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
And you read the subtitles and it's like, yo, your hunt will go down to history. You're like,
yeah.
Okay. I barely have and didn't catch any intention from that language. It wasn't just a pile of rubbish towards me.
My mind literally exploded when I played World for the first time and saw that Monster Hunter language was an option, because I was looking for the Japanese option, right? Like, because it defaults to English if you're playing the English version, and I wanted to change to Japanese because I thought that would be a nice opportunity to get some Japanese voice acting in a Monster Hunter game. And then I see Monster Hunter language as an option, and I couldn't believe it, because I knew precisely what that was going to entail. Because for anyone who's played a Monster Hunter game before World, every now and again you're going to hear those, Monster Hunter characters going, and I realized immediately that that was going to be the dialogue, and that's exactly what it was. Valen in the chat, just for my audience, because I'm sure my audience who is used to me hunting with random people will be familiar with this. He is sending in the chat, because I am taking too long, let's do this. Which is code for, you're taking too long. I hate that shit. It's like, I told the guy in the Citra chat to post a quest, and he's getting impatient with me. Like, just fucking relax, man. If you got somewhere to be, get a taxi, fuck.
Get a taxi, fuck.
I do need to actually equip something. I don't even know what Shrouded Nocilla is weak to.
I think it was ice damage.
Possibly?
And I like mobility weapons a lot against the guy. But I never really like intend to run it professionally. So I just use this kind of flowchart. Needs to hit fast, be mobile, and go brr.
Yeah, something
That's
like
my
that.
weapon disposal for that.
I will assume that you are correct. I need to be as quick as I can, otherwise this guy's going to literally depart without me because you're ready up. It's happened many times.
Yeah, I told him to. We stream, by the way, so if I don't think there's something rude happening or like rude happening, but it's like just a heads up. We have a conversation here. There's something going on here.
Let's do this. Do my quest now.
Which is actually a good thing, a good bridge to another topic. Online experiences in Monster Hunter. Do you had a experience in Monhunt you have still in your head, or something that is odd or weird or strange behaving in multiplayer?
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of that. Back in Monster Hunter Tri, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, in Monster Hunter Tri, it was both the most amazing online community and also the weirdest. Those people were fucking crazy. Like, you used to experience very interesting interactions. I don't remember any really good ones because it wasn't like someone doing something really fucked up. It was one of those things where you would have to tell a whole story in order to communicate it, and I don't really remember them anymore. I just remember at the time just being blown away by how crazy some of the people were. One experience I can tell you, which was actually in Monster Hunter World, it's probably the one that sticks out to me the most. It was when I realized just how nasty the Japanese players were, and I've experienced it since. But the Japanese players are really, really bitter, really vindictive. What happened was, I joined a Kirin SOS quest, and as you know, and for anyone who plays Monster Hunter World, if you're joining an SOS quest, I think it's as long as it's within 5 minutes of you joining, you will still get your quest rewards.
Yes, that's true.
And I joined, I think, 3 or 4 minutes into the quest. This was in whatever that location is called, I don't remember it now, but the original location where you would fight a Kirin, where it's quite a vertical area. It's like snowy in parts? No, it's not snowy in parts. But anyway, there was no snow until Iceborne now that I think about it, which is funny. But, yeah, I had to get to the monster, so I think it was already 3 minutes in, I had to get to the monster, and within 2 minutes, so in other words, by the time I got to the fight, the Kirin was dead. And this was a Japanese group. And this was on PC, I think, because on console they were separated, I think. But perhaps not as well, but this was on PC, and when I got to the monster, because I hadn't actually contributed to the fight, not just one guy, but the whole group came in and attacked me to prevent me from carving.
Oh my god.
Like, every single one of them were determined to prevent me from carving because I didn't actually contribute. Now, this wasn't my choice. I had just joined an SOS quest. I'm just playing for fun, obviously, but these guys take it seriously enough that as a group they are going to prevent me from actually getting my carves because, I don't know, I was unlucky and joined the quest in progress. Like, that was my only choice. So, yeah, and I've
didn't they
experienced
shot the
that since.
SOS flare before that, so they were craving for help?
Yeah. Like, I just...
That is like something I wouldn't get there.
That was a satisfying kill.
The other one is also here, but he just wanted to zoom away and then he found us. My weirdest thing that I had on multiplayer was on Try Ultimate. A little bit long ago. I think I was about in the age of 14, 15. And I joined a random group for Black Diablos materials. And I was like, okay, I want to find a group that is like adequately like leveled, so we all need like maybe the same materials, and I don't want to get carried because I kind of like joined the lobbies a little bit late back in the day. I played most of the things solo, and then I wanted to do multiplayer, and I had to get some fun with it, so why not joining a multiplayer lobby, I was thinking. And there was a lobby called, I don't know, like the Hunters Guild, RP.
Oh.
And I was thinking of, what is RP?
Oh no.
Like, is it called like... I was like, maybe it's called role-playing. So they were like having roles, you know, the one guy's like the support or whatever. I don't know. I thought a very technical way. So I joined this lobby, and you had back in the day this capability of having voice calls with people. And they were literally role-playing in Monster Hunter. I'm not shitting you. They were role-playing in Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I haven't actually come across that. That's...
And I was like, are you serious? And one of the guys were like chatting to me and saying, yo, this is a role-playing group. You need to role-play too. And so I started also to role-play a little bit. To be, you know, a little bit sneaky and just want to get some fresh hunts with. Because it was the only group there that wanted to do some stuff there. And they were talking like, I can do it way better in German than in English, but they were saying like, oh, honorable hunter, please be by our side to defeat this horrendous Diablos and his sister, or like her queen or whatever. And they were like talking shit like that. And I'm sitting there in front of my PC, and it was like a little bit, you know, I didn't have a headset back there, so it was a little bit loud in my room. And my sister came in, and she was like, does Monster Hunter have roleplay too now? And I'm like, I don't know. I have never experienced this kind of stuff before.
That's shocking. That's really sad. I mean,
it was so cringe.
Everyone can get whatever fun they want out of the game, but that's a public lobby. That's really funny that you just joined a public room, and they're like, hey man, this is a role-playing room, you have to role-play with us, and then they start doing that shit. That's really funny.
I was really cringed out, and I couldn't believe in the situation I was there. But the end was like, we killed the two Black Diaboloses twice, and then I couldn't play anymore because I was so traumatized by that. So I stopped for a while, and I needed like a 2-hour break to get back to Monster Hunter because I needed to really like get over it. That was really awkward.
That's miserable.
Not that I don't like roleplay in any way, but I wasn't ready for that. My brain wasn't like, okay, let's go for Monhan roleplay, baby. No, my brain was, I need some Black Diablos Cortex, please. Ooh. Like, that was my brain. I wasn't prepared for what I witnessed.
Yeah, again, like I say, it's just weird that it was in a public lobby. Like, if you're doing it with friends, whatever, like, have fun, but yeah, like, imposing that on the random Monster Hunter community, that's actually quite funny. What I'd say is that I would have very strange experiences like that in Monster Hunter Tribe, but unfortunately, because it was so long ago, I just don't remember them all in detail. One that I do remember in 3 Ultimate, which is, you know, I'm not surprised that you had that experience in 3 Ultimate. I would say that some of the people who were in Tri ended up in 3 Ultimate as well, so you did tend to get some very strange people. Probably the funniest person that I ever met in 3 Ultimate. And I do remember it because it was only about 4 or 5 years ago, and I did record it. It was hilarious. There was this female hunter, presumably female, I'm not to know, but basically she said something along the lines of, I think you know, at the end of a quest, when there's nothing to do, you've already carved the monster, people will start attacking each other's characters for fun, you know, you have a little battle, a little duel, just because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Well, this person used to get offended if you did that. They would be really, really angry if you hit their character. because I don't know,
Oh my god.
they're like self-inserting or something. They take it as
Bring
an
some
offense.
bombs and blow the entire
yeah.
scenery. But okay, I get that.
Yeah. Well, this person was actually offended or felt disrespected if you hit them. And I remember we finished the quest, and this person, you know, made the worst possible decision and said, if you kick me in-game, I'll kick you from the room. Which was pretty much issuing me a challenge at that point. And you know, I waited. I waited for like pretty much most of the next quest. I actually think it was a double Diablos quest, interestingly enough. And I waited until about halfway through the second Diablos, and then I just approached this person in a quiet moment, I think when the monster was moving locations, and I just did the in-game kicking animation on their character. This person immediately abandoned the quest and then kicked me from the room.
Oh my god.
And that was just, oh my god. It was golden. I thought it was really funny.
Lady,
like, this person
grow the fuck up.
grow up, get some help. I don't know. Like, whatever is going to prevent a scenario where you are willing to throw away the whole hunt out of spite because I kicked you in-game. Like, that's crazy. But there are all sorts of crazy people like that in that generation of Monster Hunter. Like, early 3rd gen, there were some seriously strange people hanging around. So, yeah, I wish I could remember all the stories more clearly, but I think I blocked them out. Some of them are just too fucking weird. Hossein in my chat. I would rather if you didn't join, just because if I hunt with 4 people, it's going to cause 2 problems. The first is that my emulator performance is going to go down, and also there is a much higher chance of disconnects if 4 people are playing at once in Citra. So I'd rather just keep it to 3 maximum, just for the purposes of live streaming.
We could maybe have Valen and then join another room, and you can join into if you want to. At least this quest I want to do with Valen, and then if there's another interest in the chat, why not?
Rotate people through. That makes sense. I'll try to use something a little different to make this fun. Second time we've done this monster now. Maybe Greatsword. Trying to do Awaken. Do I have an Awaken?
We could also try to approach with 4 people. I don't know if it's too bad on your side.
Well, no matter what, even if my emulator performance goes down, which I'd rather avoid anyway, I don't know if you've experienced it, but disconnections are way more common with 4 people. Like you could...
It's a long time ago I played for you, so my mind is blurry into that one.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that you can have like really solid, uninterrupted hunts with 3 people for hours. But as soon as you get a 4th person, it might be every 2nd quest or every 3rd quest, you're going to get a disconnect. So I just try to avoid it, to be honest. I don't seem to have an Awaken Ice Greatsword, so I will use something else. I do have an Awaken Ice Greatsword, I'm an idiot. That's because I already had Awaken equipped, so I couldn't actually see that the element was Awaken because it was activated. Which is quite funny. In the older games, they actually would make it so that Awaken was a different color. It would actually come up as green, but they don't do that in this game. Makes no sense when they actually downgrade things like that.
I like the idea of Awakening, but I think they're not really well implemented in 4U, I believe. In 3U, I found out the Awakening weapons are really strong and really impactful in the game, and it makes
100%.
it really worth it to play it. But in this game, I tried out a lot of different Awakening sets with, you know, min-maxing shit, but I don't really find a reason to actually do it besides the purpose of testing, really.
I just do it for variety. Just for fun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That would be the thing I would have in that too. So you see some different sets, and you have like the Awakening skill in your set, and like, oh, cool, there's a set you can broad up with that one too. But in terms of efficiency, I didn't found any goal for that one, so it kind of like bittered my taste of
Yeah, you're
awakening
100%
sets a
right
bit.
to mention 3 Ultimate because, you know, when I think of 3 Ultimate Awaken weapons, I think of like the Stygian and Ogre weapons. They were really strong. Like you would actually get a significant benefit out of just investing in the Awaken skill just to use those weapons. They were pretty much the strongest dragon weapons in that game, and that's including Elatrion.
I like the gun lance a lot. That
Yeah.
thing was brutal, even without awakening, but it really made awakening even more stronger. Only for dragon weak matchups, but still that.
Yeah.
The thing I have in mind was the Black Diablos lance that got slime into it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we all know from OG MH games, the Black Diablos weapons already are powerful, like, strong weapons, and they attach slime, the best alignment in the game,
Yeah.
to it. They
Well,
made
that was
this
pretty
weapon
much
a
a broken
monster.
status. It was way too strong.
Yeah.
But it's a good point, you know, a weapon that is already really, really strong on its own, and then you give it an incredibly strong status as well. There was the Uragan hammer as well in that game. Probably not as good without Awaken, but once you put Awaken on it, very, very effective, very strong.
Yeah. The same thing is also with the Duramboros hammer, which is a little bit unlikely to see, but it has
Yeah.
water. And it made that weapon even crazier, because it had 2 slots, really solid raw for a G1 weapon, by the way. And it has a pack of water, so it is an insanely good weapon for those molten volcanic monsters, just to bash your hammer through them. I used this like armor set once or twice in multiplayer hunts, and it was always really effective.
Yeah. No, that's great. I've not actually used the hammer in 3 Ultimate. I used it in Portable Third as a raw weapon. Like, that's my raw hammer of choice in that game. But I do use some Awakened Duramboros weapons in 3 Ultimate, just not that one. Like, the Lance, for example, is really cool. Oh, shit. The Lance is literally like a giant halberd, with like an axe on the end of the pole, and it's very cool. Like, as a Lance design, I love it. And you don't see it very often at all.
The design of the hammer looks also different in G rank, which I love that design. It looks like a wooden stamp, like a wooden, like basically the root of a wooden tree, and it looks very massive. I like that when hammers look like insanely bulky weapons. I like that designs.
I keep trying to do jump attacks off this ledge, but then I attack before I actually jump, which means that I like begin a charge with my greatsword and then I just awkwardly slide off the ledge. That's really stupid. Oh man. But yeah, I haven't seen the G rank design of that hammer. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, even with 3 people, I'm getting noticeably worse performance with my emulator, which is a bit annoying, but whatever. It's just this, I know that your computer is better than mine, but still, my computer really should be enough to run for Ultimate. It's really poorly optimized. Like, the emulator situation, it's not good.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little bit of the downside of the emulators. They take a lot of, like, processor power and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I shouldn't be able to run Monster Hunter World at, like, 120 FPS, 1080p without issue, but then struggle to run this game. It just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, oh well.
Interesting thing that the Plum Daimyo Greatsword has ice damage on Awakening, because it's weak to ice, right?
Yeah, no, well, is it? I'm trying to remember what the weakness is. You're probably right, but it does beg the question, like, how could the weakness of the monster be the element of its weapon? That doesn't make sense. Oh well. Yeah, sometimes awaken elements and statuses don't necessarily make any sense, but that's alright. Like, why on earth would... Well, I suppose Why would anything have slime on the Awaken? I was about to say, why would Black Diablos have slime? But, like, if the monster's not slimy, why would it have slime, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's probably not a good example. Well, Peaberry, that is the exception. You know, dragon monsters being weak to dragon. It makes sense that they have dragon weapons because they are dragon monsters, but that's the thing. That's one of those examples where a monster is weak to its own element. It's quite common for elder dragons and things like that. Like Elatrion's weak to dragon in the air, but does have a dragon element. And Deviljho is mostly dragon elemental? Elementally a dragon monster, but is exceptionally weak to dragon. But I do like, whatever his name is. Keep thinking of Hungry Deviljho, that's what he was called in 3 Ultimate.
Savage Deviljho?
Yeah, Savage, there you go. Savage Deviljho, he is really weak to thunder. He's exceptionally weak to thunder. So, I do often see that. I see people thinking or expecting that Savage Deviljho is primarily weak to dragon like the original one. But when he is enraged, I think he becomes probably the most thunder weak monster in 4th generation.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know if it was a Silverlose or Goldian. I always change up those elemental weaknesses all the time. But one of them is also very weak to thunder on their wings.
Yeah. They're both pretty weak to thunder, but I tend to go water for Silver Rathlos.
True, true.
But the
His
funny thing
back
about,
has an insane hit zone.
yeah, the funny thing about Silver Rathlos and Gold Rathian, particularly Silver Rathlos, is that even though he is mostly weak to water, it's not always the best option because, like, let's take Portable Third for example. The water weapons in Portable Third are generally much weaker than the Thunder Element weapons, so you'd actually be better off using, say, a Zenoga weapon against that monster in that game, even though the primary weakness is different. Valen's getting real excited here, and posting endlessly. I might ask if Hossein still wants to play. If he does, then we'll probably move rooms. What's he posted this time?
Capture the Celtis Queen.
What we might do, I probably should have... Well, I don't know if it's a key quest for Valen. I'm not really familiar with the key quests anymore, I've long since forgotten. I really have no business forgetting them because I recently did them for Ethan not long ago. But, oh well. I mean, maybe we'll just do another quest. Admittedly, if he's posting... You see, I thought he was doing an urgent quest. So I thought he was doing the urgent into G3 with the double Nursilla. But he came into this room as G2, and he's still G2, so I guess it wasn't actually an urgent quest. I remembered that incorrectly. I think this quest will actually be genuinely difficult. I think I might need to bring a Capture Guru loadout. I don't know if I've got one.
Good thing I didn't make my my heavy bowgun set, otherwise this quest would fail in seconds.
Yeah.
It's so obscure how much damage you do with piercing ammo on this guy. On this girl, more like.
Yeah. Might just bring a lance.
Sure thing. I think about that thing with the kicking member thingy and quitting out thing, sorta. I think some people would always call them like they're a main of put weapon X in here, kind of thing. I have heard one of the most beautiful things ever from someone telling me what kind of weapon main he is, because it was just a generic question I was asking. And he said, I'm not maining a weapon, I'm maining the hunter. And I found that
That's cool.
very cool indeed. I like that kind of response to that. It is like it's like saying you're liking every weapon, you're more like performing for your own. And I like that idea of thinking.
Yeah, I've never
I'm
really
maining
mained a
myself.
weapon. I mean, I've had weapon favorites, but I just can't use the same weapon for long enough to main it. It gets too boring.
Yeah, I can understand that. I do sometimes single weapon only playthroughs just for funsies and, you know, having like a blast into that.
Yeah.
But that's all what I do.
Some people, it's incredible, they will just use one or maybe two weapons and that's it. They just won't use anything else. I've seen it, like, I have memories of, say, 3 Ultimate where there was like a hunter rank 999 and he had like 5,000 uses with dual blades and almost nothing else. I mean, how can you do that? It's so boring. Oh, literally only dual blades.
I mean, you're literally capping yourself with only using 1 or 2 weapons. There's so many cool weapons you can test out with.
I guess they don't know what they're missing out on, so they don't think that it's a disadvantage, but I don't know, like, in my opinion, you're going to be able to enjoy the game for longer if you have more options. But I guess other people just don't have the... Maybe it's like a flexibility thing. Maybe they don't have the flexibility to learn something new, so they just learn one weapon type and then they get in their comfort zone and they just stay there forever. To me, it limits your ability to have fun, so... You know, get creative.
I mean, I enjoy people when they get creative with their weapon using like beer mug dual blades to just beat the shit out of monsters. I like that kind of people too. But limiting yourself with one weapon, it's like you're deleting half of the fun, right?
Yeah. You actually see a lot of that in this game with the Insect Glaive, for example, because you can just cheese all of the monsters with mounting. So a lot of people just exclusively use, or at least when the game came out, a lot of people were exclusively using the Insect Glaive. I can understand that, when you've got a particular weapon type that makes the game really simple.
Okay, I try not to unga bunga too much here. If I do my full combo now, this guy will die.
Yeah, I actually forgot that there was a capture
Be patient and
quest.
kill the Celtis.
That's a good idea.
Unless the Celtis Queen is interrupting me. Oh my god. Can I get off the corner?
I'm the only one who's not smelly.
Oh my. Wow, that works through the dunk state? That is very interesting. I never had that interaction happening.
Yeah, so it only prevents you from doing anything. Like, other people can still heal you.
Ah, I see.
Oh, fuck. It's also very helpful when you have stench, that's what it's called, or the dung state. I actually like the dung state. It feels like a state of mind. Like, but, yeah.
Oh, what?
Like, oh, I think you got hit by
What the hell killed me?
You got hit by the ranged water attack of the Celtis Queen.
Oh my god, okay. The water bazooka one-shot. Ouchies. I didn't even see it coming.
I am still worried about this Celtis Queen. We do need to be careful. I just hate capture quests. I hate the concept of them. I get that it's a little bit of a challenge, but the concept of killing a monster, but then you fail and get nothing out of it, that is bullshit.
Yeah.
That is the definition of bullshit. Like, I've hunted the monster. I'm playing Monster Hunter. It's dead. Why are you giving me nothing? I think what they should do is make it so that you can still get your calms, and the quest is over, but it's not marked as completed. I think that's what they should have done.
I'm being patient with my attacks here. I'm scared.
Fuck!
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's my fault. I was
hate that
aiming for the
problem.
face. I was like getting in there and beating on her face, so I should have been more careful. It's just hard because she's not giving any indication that she's been in her starting area for ages.
Fun fact,
Not limping
both
out.
are dead. Just both. They both
And we
died.
got nothing out of it. I hate these fucking quests. People who
Yeah.
post them make me angry. I don't even care if it's your key quest. If you post a fucking capture quest in my room, I'm either gonna cry or I'm gonna scream.
Or both.
Yeah, scream crying. Extreme emotional reaction.
Cream. Cream.
Yes, I'm going to cream if you post a capture quest in my room. A slightly different connotation there. Oh man. He's going to post it again as well.
It's okay. I prepare my I gonna take my SAADs and play them in another quest. I don't do AAD in SAD anymore.
Oh no,
They
he's
do too
decided
much
against
damage.
it. Mean and green. Okay, maybe he just wants Celtus Queen materials. That must be what's going on.
Yeah. As a CB player, I understand that he wants some equipments from those.
Yeah, Beta in my chat makes a good point. If you post a capture quest, the quest host should bring Capture Guru. But I also don't agree with that, because what if you're just going through the game at a fairly low level and you don't have a Capture Guru set? Honestly, whether or not you have a Capture Guru set will often depend on what kind of talismans you have available. Like, there are a very small number of armor sets that would have Capture Guru naturally, and quite frankly, I don't know what set has that naturally in 4 Ultimate, so I think if you don't have the talisman, then you shouldn't be expected to have Capture Guru. So, like, on one level I do agree, but on another level it's not realistic. It's not a realistic requirement. So
I have to say it's also very, very rare skill that you put in your armor set for... I mean, I know in GU people do that, but you know what I found or would like way more? If there would be like an item interaction that gives you a little bit of a hint when to capture a monster. Like, you know, that kind of thing, instead of having an armor skill to implement that. Because you literally like downgrade your power on hunts for the sake you see the monster's HP. And in GU, even when you see the blinking, like it's starting limping for the last 2 or 4 percentages. Some monsters doesn't have that many HP, so if you do like, let's say your strongest attack with Greatsword, you do sometimes do 4% damage exactly, and this is the stupid threshold you have there, and you kill it one swing, and you see the blinking when you just up for the charge, and you see it like, you know,
yeah.
you don't see it coming, but then you strike and it falls down, and you feel like shit. You feel like shit.
Yeah.
I could have seen that.
It's actually getting hot in my room, so I'm gonna switch on my air conditioning unit. I'll be back in a moment.
Oh, Frenzied Emerald Conga Bonga. How long didn't I found you, bad boy? I forgot every of your move. Literally. Wow. The concha hit me into the poop. Wow. How did that hit me? What? I tried to guard point that one. Damn. No! Oh, the input delay. I hate that.
I'm back. My setup is so nightmarish. In order to speak to you and record at the same time, I've had to shift my audio interface, and what it's done is it's made it so that I have to step over my microphone cable and my webcam cable. So I'm doing very strange maneuvers to sit into my chair. And if it were on camera, that in and of itself would be a form of entertainment. Possibly even better than watching the video game.
I mean, what do you mean? This is spicy content. We're fighting against Poopy Monkey.
Poopy Monkey. I gotta get in there and experience it.
He's constantly pooping. And it makes me angry.
That is, yeah, I don't know what the correlation between him being green and shitting all the time is, but he does aggressively shit. Stop.
No. Okay.
No. Oh, shit.
I bounced off the Khonshu.
That's annoying, because I've got my paralysis weapons here, so I might end up paralyzing him while you're not here. Oh well.
Fun fact, that's the second time I carded that piece of junk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Literally. Oh, shit.
I mean, the other twos should be more easier, I think, to fight, but I don't remember Konga in 4U at all. Not a single clue what he does.
He's really aggressive in this game.
In Freedom Unite, he is such a joke. He is such a wait and drink tea matchup, but here he is annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally. Wow, I just got 2 back-to-back paralyses. Poor bastard. Oh, yeah. Hossein thinks that because of his green diet, you know, eating lots of vegetables, makes him poop more.
That's a disgusting and logical way to describe it.
I mean, think about it, like he's having these aggressive and frequent bowel movements. And we're just having to deal with them. It's not even an attack, he's an incontinent, shitty monster. Maybe he's really embarrassed by it.
No. Why do I have, like, anime voices in my head now? Uni-chan, please not look at me.
Uni-chan, don't look at me.
Do you remember the manga that that posted to you on Discord? The DNA ×2 thing, the romantic manga that I started watching as a teenager. That was like the last story I told you in the other podcast thing.
Vaguely, no, I don't remember it very well.
That is the thing that happened in this anime too.
Oh,
like,
God.
There's actually a girl that does have a problem with that. Hey,
Well.
Hibashiri, welcome. Been a while though, yeah. I wasn't on Twitch for a long time. I had some private stress and work to do. And my interest in Monster Hunter was also negotiable, like constantly getting lower and lower. Not because the game sucks or anything, I just burn out a little bit on Monster Hunter.
Which is normal. You know, if you play the same thing all the
Yeah.
time, it does get really boring. I have those moments. I think we're pretty lucky, to be honest. Some people will create a live streaming setup where they're pretty much playing literally one game. At least we're playing a series. So we can play lots of different games within Monster Hunter. Makes it a bit easier. Well, I'm glad we don't have to waste our time avoiding killing the monster. Just fucking beat on her. Locked down. Goodbye.
Oh, it was just Kongalala and Zeltis, I see.
Yeah.
I thought there was a Kesha Washer in there too. I don't
Yeah,
know
that's the
why,
thing,
but...
It looks like a triple quest, but it's actually just the queen and her bitch.
and her bitch.
Yeah, Ethan in my chat is talking about how this game really has a big focus on skills that promote damage rather than playstyle. And that's true enough. Like, this is one of those games where it really... Well, this is the first game where it really became like that. It's not at the point where it's like there's no benefit to using skills like Quick Sheath or Focus or things like that, but just the... how strong the hunter is made in this game does start to skew the balance, and this is really where it began, where the hunter just became so strong that it, slowly but surely, with each game that released, the experience became, in my opinion, less complicated and more simplified, and it's just... eventually, once you get to Monster Hunter World, you've got the monsters doing ridiculous things in order to make it more balanced. Because the hunter is just so ridiculously strong. So.
Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about, like how naturally strong other hunters competed to their like previous or futured games kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a little bit of power creeping in every Monster Hunter game. There's just naturally a way that hunters get stronger, and I feel sometimes also the monsters get stronger. I think Kushala is a pretty good example for that. For me personally, Kushala in Gen 2 is, besides the G-Rank version, pretty manageable. But in 4U in G-Rank, he is a monster. Like, especially the rusted version of him.
Yeah, I think 4 Ultimate did a pretty good job of updating the monsters to have them be a decent challenge considering how much stronger the hunters had been made. I think they did it creatively. It wasn't like they just did a cut and paste and decided, okay, let's just turn the damage up higher. They actually made the attacks of the monsters more difficult to deal with. Like Kushala, for example, with his Black Wind in this game. And
oh yeah.
yeah, he's better designed. He's more of a challenge, so makes sense. Now that I think about it, the quest that we just did with Kongalala and Seltos, they are both poopy monsters. Like, both of them are shitting all over the place. So that was actually a really shitty quest. So no go.
Being busy with GU recently, yeah, that's definitely a game you can invest a lot of time in there. I have around 500 to 1,000 hours to GU, and I still didn't completed all the EX quests yet. Because I mandatorily wanted to do it solo, but some EX are just absurdly stupid hard.
Yeah.
But on multiplayer, it's fun.
Might try to look for a fun Awaken weapon to use. I probably don't have many Awaken Ice weapons, to be honest. I'm still in the process of forging them all. Oh, there we go. I've got an Awaken Ice Lance. Let's use that. Oh, but I don't think I have an Awaken Ice Lance set yet. Still working on that. Damn. I'll have to use just a generic Awaken set, which actually has another one of those combination skills that we were talking about before. Enlightened Blade, which is pretty cool. It's basically Awaken and also element attack up and status up, so it's actually a triple skill.
Pog.
I wonder if I can make use of that triple slot. Yes, I can, for Critical Eye plus 3, unless they've changed it. No, it's still 20 points to get Critical Eye plus 3, so I'll see if I can gem that in. That'll make this set really strong. Do not have an Expert Jewel 3 on hand. Let's see if I can make one. I can make one. Very good.
It's kind of funny, every time when I play Charge Play on For You, Heba's coming in my chat. He's like smelling it through the internet. It's the same thing with Artilad when I play Great Sword in Gen 2. He's immediately coming to my chat and ranting about me not hitting or whiffing too many charged attacks. And I say,
you're not
dude,
learning your lesson.
I really try. Yeah.
You're not taking his advice. You must learn from the master.
I mean, Artilad is insane with Great Sword. But I don't know, he started to play bow when he watched my Freedom Unite playthrough. I want to see how good he is with bow. Not that I'm certainly good with bow, but on Freedom Unite bow, I'm pretty brain dead.
Well, the thing is,
but I can't...
like, Freedom Unite bow is a brain dead weapon type. Like, you fucking hold down triangle and release it. That's it. There's just no detail to that weapon type. I love it. I love how it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes simplicity is good, and less is more.
I can't play bow on Freedom Unite on stream anymore. The people were ranting me about the clicking noises they hear all the time.
What, from your controller?
Yeah, I do wiggle shots a lot when I try hard with bow, and the clicking is so loud you can hear it on my microphone, and it doesn't matter what I do. You hear this constant all the time.
That's really interesting that they complain about that. That should just be normal background noise when playing a video game. I don't know.
Personally, I'm playing Tekken, by the way, recently. That's why I'm kind of, not playing Monster Hunter, because I'm playing Tekken right now a lot.
Yeah.
And I watch a streamer that, shows some fundamentals of Tekken. A fighting game is always a thing where you have to get into it and, learn new things. Especially me, because I'm getting new to fighting games. Yeah. And what makes me so much fun about Tekken and watching the stream is the damn clicking sound, because they use those arcade sticks, right? And they make incredibly satisfying sounds on clicking.
Yeah.
And I love those sounds, really.
So, I mean, it's anything from either enjoying the sound to just blocking it out. It's unusual to me to have people complaining about it. I mean, it's a little different if you've got a really shitty microphone. Like, let's imagine you've got some table-mounted microphone, and it's just this really ugly, reverberant sound, or whatever, but... I don't know, you just gave me an example with your controller with your mic now, and that sounds fine, so... I think whoever's complaining about that needs to relax a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to avoid that sort of sound, but... when I think about it, if I watch people play video games, I don't really notice their button mashing, but when I think about it, yeah, there is button mashing and you can hear it. It's really common with Monster Hunter. I mean, it's not a fighting game, but the amount of button mashing that you do in Monster Hunter is pretty close. Like, if you're in the heat of combat, there's some serious button mashing going on.
No! Of course you do side flip. Oh, he does enrage.
Yep. I have no guard skills, so it's pretty unpleasant to have this massive animation every time I have to shield something. Oof. I got hit really stupidly there as well. He's gearing up for that attack and I literally launched myself into him.
The thunder he hit me with hit me into this big AoE and KO'd me in the same time.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like, I could not do anything. It was
That's
like
annoying.
the game said, you die now.
Perfect chain combo. I'm in the ridiculous situation of mounting a monster when no one else is in the room with me. Oh no, Valen is here, sorry. I thought you were the red player for some reason.
No. I was busy with the cat dealings. I mean, let's be honest. Why do the cats do the job they do here? I think the cats are a little bit of a criminal mind. They work with the human because they know they're like the superior things, but you know, they use their the misery they are encountered into the hunters, and they want their money. So that's the money you pay, right? The quest's like fee. It's basically
Oh, okay, that's a good point. I'd never thought about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically the fee you pay.
The fee you pay is so that the cats are there to pick you up when you fall. I'd never thought about that, but that's a good point. Yeah, those fucking cats, like, they don't even have clothes on. They're just like random felines. And it makes me wonder, yeah, like, are they felines that are just on site ready to pick you up? Or are they just hanging around? No, they can't just be hanging around. They've got the cart. So they must be, like, employed by the guild. And yeah, you pay them. Or at least we can pretend that we pay them. I think there's a bit of cat slavery going on in the Monster Hunter world, personally.
Cat slavery? No, they do it all by their own will, of course. Wink, wink. They make the money or like they make the food just for you because they're so friendly. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm reminded of dismissing a cat in Freedom Unite. Like, you don't want your cat anymore, and then you have to watch that fucking scene where it runs away crying. That's so sad. I refuse to do that. Just quickly, like, anyone who wants to avoid that cutscene, you don't have to watch that. You can dismiss the cats through the granny, and you don't have to watch them actually crying because you've rejected them.
I remember when I played my Freedom Unite playthrough a couple while ago. I do an all awards right now, and there was a cat that I accidentally bought, and I didn't thought about the option you can sell it there. And you know Twitch chat. Twitch chat is a bunch of idiots, right? They want you playing video games, and then you do something that is super sad, and they try to make you emotional, right? And you're a cold-hearted Monster Hunter gamer that is just thinking about 3 things with their 3 gray brain cells. One thing is big damage number is good. Second thing is monster hit, monster dead. Let's go. And the third thing is where item. So and then you go to the kitchen, disobey the damn kitten, and the cutscene starts. And then the entire chat is full with sad faces and stuff. You know, it's 2 hours in the stream, nobody types anything. But if you're gonna abandon a cat, everybody is crying. Like, this is my Twitch chat experience, literally.
But it is sad. Like, I don't know what, like, those evil people who made this game, like, they could have just made it this really casual thing, like, oh yeah, this cat, you just dismiss it, you don't need it. But they turn it into this emotional experience, like it's really personal. Like this cat that you fucking bought. Like this is a cat that didn't just turn up because it had a specific affection for you or whatever. Like this could be a cat that was sitting in a bag on the back of a granny and you bought it and it's just there. Like it could be there for 5 minutes and then you dismiss it and you get this full-on cutscene where the thing is crying. I mean, what the fuck? Like those are evil people who developed that, who designed that.
It's Capcom, of course.
It's Capcom. Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's
Twitch
really
chat
fun.
basically reacts to cringe moments in the game when you die or if you get a world record in something. Then they react. Everything else is just, hi, how's it going? Back to lurk. Okay, which I'm totally fine with. I don't want to be that guy. But this is my Twitch chat experience from 2.5 years of Monster Hunter play.
Yeah.
It's either sad cringe moments in the game, I card and the people go monkey noise, or you get something incredible that is obvious to react and they're like the masses of those sheeps in a farm, they're like meh, and they do the clapping, you know.
Well, that's entertainment for you. That is entertainment at your fingertips, you know. You don't have to actually contribute to the entertainment. You can just sit there and, you know, be a zombie, I guess, and then when something really engaging happens, you can mash on keys on keyboard. But yeah, like for me, I feel like I've done a very good job of cultivating my own community, so I don't really experience that shit. You know, the people who lurk, they can have their entertainment. It doesn't bother me, and I actually don't hold it against them if they don't want to contribute, but yeah, like when you get those people who turn up, who contribute in a bad way.
Getting back to the sound of controller thingy, I said about the Tekken streamer I watch. He doesn't play on a controller, on an arcade stick. And I don't know, I never had an arcade stick in my hand, and I'm kind of threatened to buy it actually for like Tekken, because I hear it's good for like fighting games, but I'm so used to use a controller even on older Tekken games. But the sound of the clicking with this huge stick and those like integrated buttons is so satisfying to hear, and I'm kind of drifted to test it out by myself. I know it's a complete new movement tech you have to get into, because it sounds maybe for some controller users very awkward, but those insanely big sticks and on top of your desk and you're playing video games with it sounds very awkward. But I think on a beat 'em up game it's very useful to have that. But I have to find. I had a friend back in the day. Yo, Beta, thanks for the follow. I had a viewer of mine that watches sometimes, and he was also playing Tekken, but I don't remember his Discord name. So this is a shout out for Twitch chat. If there are people playing Tekken and have an arcade stick, I need some fundamental information flow here, because I'm a newbie booby Tekken player, and I don't know if I should get an arcade stick or not. I'm in a really... Yeah, newbie booby. I'm totally bad in Tekken. I know some fundamentals, and I know the Tekken language a little bit, but that's all what I know. This is a very small Celtus.
Yeah, it's baby. Baby queen. Princess Celtus.
It would be funny if there is a gold crown Celtus now. Just for funsies.
That sounds really kinky.
And P. Berry, thank you for the follow too. I appreciate it. Normally I would do a long intro about you can watch blah 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 here in this channel, but I guess it's kind of the point. Yeah, I'm a Monster Hunter streamer. Making it short this time.
I'm actually really enjoying spread against Celtus Queen. I don't use spread bow as much anymore. I used to use it a lot.
Oh my god. Whew, that was a big snipe from Celtus Queen there. Nearly got me.
Oh, thank god for the mobility of his weapon. Oh, look out. Actually, you know what? It's not dangerous enough for me to support, so you guys can use your own potions.
All good. I live in the fantasy, if I get hit, it's my fault.
Well, you know, I treat it that way as well. Like, I actually get annoyed when someone life powders me needlessly. Like, instead of just automatically thanking them, I don't say it in chat, but I'll say in my live stream, like, no, why are you life powdering me? You should have saved that for a situation where it was actually necessary. But I suppose support is support. It's the thought that counts sometimes. I think it's really gross that the insect monsters actually vomit on you. Like, no, I don't want your stomach fluid on my face. That's actually something that I think a lot of gamers underestimate. It's what the actual video game character has to experience, like the shit that they have to put up with. If you were in their situation, like getting shat on by monsters, having their stomach fluid splashed on your face, like, could you imagine? Like, we just take it for granted. We're sitting here.
I would
on the other
never
side
change
of the
with them. That sounds terribly disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're just here with a controller, just having fun. The hunter is actually submerged in... sometimes the hunter is submerged in lava, like actually burning their feet, or freezing, and we think a little hot drink is enough for them. I don't think so. I think they're experiencing extreme discomfort. And we just expect it of the hunter.
It feels also like the hunter is a little bit like a superhuman thingy sometimes. I mean, it's a video game. I get that. Yeah, you have to tell me that one, but...
Oh, fuck.
How strong a hunter have to be is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of theories relating to the lore that the hunters are actually not regular humans. They're like an augmented form of human, like a superhuman sort of thing. I haven't gotten into the details of that, but my friend Ethan has gotten into that because he's the sort of person who needs to have an explanation for it. It's not just enough to say, oh, it's a video game, so it's not a normal human being. Like, there has to be a lore explanation for it. And it seems like in the Monster Hunter lore there is like an explanation for why the hunters are so strong. Like, for example, they can fall from huge heights and they can take these heavy hits from these monsters. I mean, they're definitely not normal humans, but yeah, if you look hard enough, there are explanations.
Or not? I can barely tell.
Well, I think we probably should go for the capture. Do you have a shock trap? I have one. I'm just thinking if I put one down.
Yeah, I would like to charge a little bit my charge blade here. Okay. So I can at least do an SAD. Yeah. So if she's not full on capture rate, after this one, she should be.
I'm just gonna go for a shock trap here and see how we go.
You have tranq bombs with you too?
I do. I always carry them.
No.
Fuck, she left. Waited too long. Okay, so I know that I've put down a shock trap. I mean, I also have a pitfall trap, admittedly, so it's not the end of the world. But I don't think you can actually dismantle a trap in this game, which means that I have to wait until my shock trap disappears before...
Can you give me yours? If you have another one?
That's actually a good point.
The strats.
That's a fucking amazing strategy.
I don't know if she can go in the pitfall. I believe she can.
She can, yeah. I don't think there are monsters that can't be pitfalled in 4th gen. I think that's just a 2nd gen thing. And 1st.
Diablos. I think Diablos can't be.
No, he can be, it's just he can destroy pitfalls, I think. Or
can you pre-trank her so I can SAD?
Yeah, sure. Oh, there you go.
Wasn't even necessary.
Nicely done. Well, we had the plan in place to capture her no matter what. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
That would be an amazing thing if she wouldn't be capturable and I would one-shot her with the charge blade. That would be very insane.
Yeah.
SAEDs in this game hit like a damn truck when you aim them correctly, which is the hard thing about the attack. If you don't hit it properly, it does no damage.
Hossein in my chat actually seems to think that you can dismantle traps by pressing the skip button while standing over them, like the skip button becomes a dismantle button. I don't know if that's true or not. I'll have to test that out, maybe.
Let's go. Short Crown Zeltas and Short Crown Zeltas Queen. In the same quest.
I think I may have actually already gotten those.
Me not, and I'm very happy for it.
Not.
Everybody missed that button. The famous nut button. Let's see. I reload chat real quick. There are maybe plenty of messages now here. Okay. I can help you for know the basic fundamentals of Tekken. Forgot to reintroduce me. It's Infinite 10. I know you. I can't change my in-game name in Citra because it's there. I would change it, not gonna lie. I wouldn't mind to play some Tekken with some people online to get a little bit the iconic nut button, yeah. To play Tekken with some people just to get known a little bit more about Tekken. I know some of the like basics, basically, how to read certain attacks, and I'm focusing on one character right now and trying to learn it really and to get into the franchise a bit. I think the game has good options to do it, but I have to say it's a big universe to dig into, so it's a little bit frightening me to get into it, but it's a lot of fun playing it. It's something completely different than Monster Hunter, and this is something I was seeking for a long time, and I found it with Tekken.
Oh, that's fair enough. You do definitely need another... You can't just have Monster Hunter as something to play passionately. I think you need at least a second or maybe even third series that you're willing to put a lot of time into. Otherwise, it just gets too monotonous. For me, that's the Soul series, with Elden Ring included. But, yeah, you just need something to break up that monotony. Otherwise, you will lose interest.
Before with Monster Hunter together, I played back in the day League of Legends, but this game frightened me out so hard. And I know what I have heard about Tekken. It's also a game that includes a toxic community. But the toxicity in Tekken is different than in League. And this is a very interesting thing. I think this is cool to talk about, because I think Monster Hunter isn't really a toxic game in any regard compared to other games that are multiplayer capable. But League on its own is such a... It's basically the hell boiler room of toxicity, and Tekken is like the upper floor, you know.
Oh, okay.
It's sometimes bad, but the toxicity doesn't spread that much than in League, because you can't be negative to other players in your team or on your enemy team. You can't talk to 9 different people on each game. You can only talk to yourself, which is the best thing to improve on to really get good in the game. Or you have your opponent that plays like a shitty character, but it's a fighting game, so at the end of the day, of course, the character can be a little bit overtuned and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all about matchup knowledge, and if you don't learn the matchup, you get paid for that. And that's all about fighting games. That was thrilling me to play it, because it's in one way competitive, but it's self-reflecting competition, and not competition that is reliant on your team. And that is something that is really important for me. Because on League, I don't want to be the guy, my team is always bad, and that like kind of thing, but I don't know if that says anything to you, but I was a grandmaster player in League of Legends. I didn't play for 2 seasons. I got back into the game and I couldn't reach Platinum. Yeah, I was stuck in Platinum, and that is disgusting. I don't know what happened to the game, but yeah. Which character are you using in Tekken? I use Azucena. I know she's a female character, she has booty and all that kind of thing, but I like the thing that she's a martial arts fighter. You play League and Tekken. Oh god, you have to get strong mental, dude. By the way, what are you playing also than Monster Hunter Doom?
Well, I play a lot of, well, in my own time, it is mostly Souls games. I was actually just explaining in my chat via text that I started out, like, as a gamer, as a Zelda gamer. Like, that was my thing. I've always been focused not on single games, but on game series. So I started in Zelda, like, back in, you know, I guess we'll say around 2005, 2006. And that was when, like, well, at least by 2006, that's when Let's Playing was first coming around. And so 2006, 2007, I was playing the Zelda games and watching people play them online in the early days of YouTube. And that was a really good time. And then, sort of alongside Zelda, I was playing Castlevania as well. And those were the two games that I focused on the most. And then, literally during the same year, which was 2009, I picked up Monster Hunter Freedom Unite and Demon Souls. And so I became a Monster Hunter / Souls player, because those games became my new addiction. I started to put all this time into those games. Souls and Monster Hunter were very similar in that when you come into them brand new, you just get the shit beaten out of you. You will actually feel like you are useless and that you can't do anything. And I think because I was young and tenacious, I was willing to put up with that shit. I don't know if I'm that flexibly minded anymore. I think if I play a game where I'm really shit at it, nowadays, I probably wouldn't want to put the time in to become good. But back then, yeah, I was down. And I became good at those games eventually. And they were the ones that I focused on. And so even now, I'm mostly going back and playing, you know, Souls games that I haven't played a lot recently, like Demon Souls and the original Dark Souls, and also trying to explore more of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is the gift that keeps on giving. I have to say that because I really didn't enjoy 5th generation Monster Hunter very much, it's actually pushed me into 1st generation. Now, I didn't touch 1st generation much at all until World came out. Since World, I have been playing more and more of 1st generation. I started in Monster Hunter Freedom 1, which was probably the most sensible starting point for 1st gen. It's closer to 2nd gen, and it's on the PSP, so it's easy to emulate and play comfortably. And then I moved into Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G, and of course Monster Hunter 2 DOS as well. Like, DOS feels probably more 1st gen than it does 2nd generation. So yeah, unfortunately Valen has disconnected, so he's not going to benefit from this
Should we
quest.
disconnect too? Should we abandon?
No, I think we are both still connected. Oh, you mean should we disconnect?
Yeah, we should.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I am mostly... like, I can get a lot of mileage out of Monster Hunter. It's incredible. Like, I think there's a little bit of repetition when you're playing the early Monster Hunter games, like... From Monster Hunter 1 from 2004 to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite in 2009, those games, like that group of games, the first 2 generations, there's a lot of the same thing. You're finding a lot of the same monsters, you're literally forging the same equipment, but each game has its own balance. It's like, they're designed in a very similar way, but what ends up being the ideal thing to use will change a little bit. So even though you have access to the same equipment, you will end up forging different things. And also each game is just different enough from each other that they do feel at least slightly different. I think you would have to be an enthusiast in order to enjoy old Monster Hunter in the way that I and a lot of other people do, but it's just different enough to maintain enjoyment for me. But
Yeah,
whenever I do need a little bit of variety, I will play a Souls game, or, you know, an old Elder Scrolls game, or an old Call of Duty game, or something like that, you know, whatever I need to keep it fun. I'm definitely the opposite of the kind of gamer who needs to play, like, the new games, and they're very focused on maybe a 30 to 50 hour long gaming experience and they move on to something else. I'm the opposite. I'm all about time investment. If I'm going to play a game, it's because I'm investing in a strong endgame experience, something that I'm going to enjoy for years to come. And I've always gravitated towards series like that. So it's been very rewarding.
We're telling it. Legend of Zelda is a game franchise that I know very, very much of, at least from hearing it. But I played only 2 of them. I played Zelda: The Minish Cap on a Game Boy. That was my first Game Boy game I played on the Game Boy Advance SP. And I played the Twilight Princess with my sister back in the day.
2 of the best Zelda games. What a great introduction.
Yeah, I have heard about it. Minish Cap was, I think, some people from the Zelda community say it's an okay game, but it's not incredibly astonishing. They would rather like go for Majora's Mask or like Wind Waker or something like that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was enough to get introduced into the franchise. It was a cute game experience with all those little tiny chibis where you running around and you playing Link, and you know, I actually learned in the game the first time that the main character you play isn't Zelda, it is Link.
Yes.
That was my casual experience on it. And there were so many hidden things, and there was a time actually as a kid I had no idea what I'm going to do because I was not reading shit, and neither what kind of progression you're gonna do. So I was using the internet a lot, very old threads back there, to have a certain idea about it. And I just stumbled upon a secret thing, the mirror shield kind of thing. It's like a glass shield, and everything it blocks is reflected away. And that is normally an item that is very hard to get, but I thought that would be the ideal progression of the game. So I did it, but it wasn't actually the thing I should do or should have done, which was funny. And Twilight Princess, I liked the idea of the wolf and this little demon kind of thing, and the story. And what I loved most about Twilight Princess was the like black atmosphere. It was never like a bright and shiny day in the game. Sometimes they have some forest with a little bit of sunshine in there, but the game vibe, like the atmosphere, the environment was always touched a little bit of a dark grayish, like middle-aged thing. It reminds me now on Demon Souls a little bit, and that I love that so much. And then you have those enemies; they look terrifying, like black shadows, basically. It's very cool.
I like. It was a very stylistic game. Yeah, it was all about that dark style. It was definitely a thing from the time. Like, that was quite common from the early to mid 2000s, but you know, I think they did it very well in Zelda. Like, that was Zelda's answer to that stylistic approach, and yeah, it came out very well. I absolutely adore that game. I think it's had a bad rap recently, but I don't think that's meaningful criticism. I think it's bandwagon opinion, people who can't think for themselves and just go, oh yeah, bad because you have to play as Wolf or whatever. And
wow.
Yeah.
I think I found it kind of fond of to be really feral to your enemies.
Yeah.
You're just being a nasty beast and slicing them with your bare teeth, which is an experience I never got in Monster Hunter, to be honest. It would be so nice. It would be like a fun game mode where you can just play the monster and just poop on people with Kongalala. I don't know. I think that would be an amazing, fun experience, though.
Oh,
but I know it's Monster Hunter, and they're not the main protagonists in that way, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think there has always been people in the Monster Hunter community calling for a chance to play as the monster, and I think the community basically got it in Monster Hunter Rise with controlling the monsters with those strings, you know, like the wirebug wires. I think that is about the closest we're going to get to it, and I actually don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think Capcom reached that idea on their own. I think that was in answer to, you know, many years ago, and for a very long period of time, people asking to play as the monsters, or wishing that they could play as the monsters. I think that's about as close as Capcom's willing to go with that, and I think it's interesting.
I think I have a superior problem in this quest now.
Well.
Or not. He just got away.
Well, that's good. I do actually carry dung bombs in this game, I think, so wouldn't have been the end of the world.
This hitbox is insane.
I actually have quick sheath on this set, which is nice. I managed to work it in. This is a crazy loadout. This is honed blade, latent power +1, rock steady, quick sheath, and focus. That is a great sword set, right there. It's just nice to be able to work in quick sheath without feeling like I'm, I guess, foregoing extra damage. My damage is sufficient, and I also get the benefit of quick sheath. So despite it being a really, really ugly loadout, like, if you ever get a chance to see this, Baynes, this is like one of my ugliest mix sets ever. The skills are still pretty good. I'm all about the skills, not about the fashion. Oh, that was awkward.
Sorry for the KO, I didn't see you were mounting.
Wow. The timing was such that I don't think you could have avoided it. It's like the same time, pretty much. Nicely done.
Oh, he's dead. I thought he would be sleeping. I didn't expect that, a fast kill.
Yeah, I think we were pretty focused on damage application there.
The dancing made it all much better. I mean, that was not the core point why I'm picking that Tekken character, but she's a very fun personality. Always laughing and giggling when she hits people. Kind of like a mean thing. It's like always taunting your opponent by hitting them badly in the face. Yeah, but besides that, on The Legend of Zelda, I never got really much introduced into the franchise. I heard about like Breath of the Wild being an insane video game, but it kind of like flew away from me. I don't know why, even if I heard really good critiques about the game.
I'm very much in two minds about Breath of the Wild. To be honest, even thinking about it as a video game on its own, I don't think it's as good as it's been reviewed. I don't think its critical acclaim is completely appropriate, but the more that I think about it, it's probably true that it does things that no other game does. It just feels like there must be other games that do it better, but maybe there aren't. Like, maybe I've just been unfair to it, but for me,
it reminded me so much on Elden Ring, actually. This
well, Elden Ring definitely
took...
Elden Ring 100% took inspiration from Breath of the Wild. A lot of the landscapes reminded me of Breath of the Wild, and it actually bothered me to see like an open world Souls game taking not just a leaflet out of the book of Breath of the Wild, but pretty much taking half the fucking book. Like, it just... what it told me was that there was a bit of lack of imagination with From Software when it came to doing an open world. I feel like, yeah, they could have started with a different landscape, maybe something a little more bleak. That's what struck me. It was the environment that you come into when you start in Elden Ring is almost, you know, ecologically identical to Breath of the Wild. It just looks the same. It's the same sort of foresty, yet also somewhat mountainous area, and like, I don't know. I think they could have done something a little different though. But there's other things as well, but yeah, weirdly, I actually sort of prefer Breath of the Wild to Elden Ring as an open world game, so... but I will say that just for my own personal opinion, because I'm so passionate about Zelda, there are a lot of things about Breath of the Wild that just don't scratch my itch for a Zelda game. I think it's Zelda became formulaic enough, where Breath of the Wild doing what it did felt like it was breaking away from that formula that made Zelda special. And I wasn't asking for that, and I didn't need it, so I don't personally think that it's a good way for Zelda to go. But I guess you do get... the good thing about Zelda is that it's always split off into two directions. You would have sort of the more traditional portable style Zelda games, and then you'd have the 3D ones. But in the early 3D era of Zelda,
yes,
it still felt a little bit traditional, you know. It's just that's unfortunately changed.
I mean, I think the older Zelda games have like this one idea where you go to different temples, get like some cool mysterious item, and then you have like a very epic boss battle at the end, like Ganondorf, or in the Minish Cap you fight against Vati, the Black Sorcerer.
Yes.
and I think the fight was so awesome, where you have different forms and they all look like eye-shaped creatures, and this was very, very spooky as a kid, but also very, very representing the evil mind behind this like bad sorcerer. Really, I like the manifestation of certain things in Zelda a lot. They really being creative in their things to representate things. I like that a lot. I feel like some video games could maybe slice a thing on that and use it for their own games sometimes.
Well, Zelda, it has to be remembered, it was pretty much the basis for a lot of RPGs today. Like, the original Zelda game was one of those building blocks upon which later games were built. And because there was nothing really quite like it when it came out. I mean, I think there was technically a game called Hide Lied, I think, which came out just before Zelda, but it, like the original Zelda game back in 1986, was a genre-defining game, and like a video gaming-defining game, much like Mario was, or Super Mario Brothers as it was. And so, you know, I think that even though maybe some games could do a little bit more like Zelda, in a weird way, Zelda is the origin of so many games that we play. Like what we're playing right now, in a weird way, originates from Zelda, from all of those years ago. But, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it is so long ago that you there have been enough changes and enough evolutions where it's difficult to really compare them now. You wouldn't play Monster Hunter and say, oh, this is just like the original Zelda game, but there are elements there, and that's where it started. So,
yeah, I see. It's like the franchises, those old franchises, try to peek new things into the video game, which is, saying it in a basic level, a good idea. But sometimes they shred about the old design from it a little bit. You know what I'm thinking? Like, sometimes it's a bit too much change, and that despises some people to play those games, I feel like.
well,
It is kind of like the same thing I have with Sunbreak or Rise.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like Monster Hunter for me anymore. It feels like
Yes.
Anime Hunter.
Well, that's
Even if I played Frontier, it's pretty anime too, but it feels it's fitting more anime, or like it's fitting more Monster Hunter in an anime style than Sunbreak does to me. That is a bit of a thing for me. It's a taste thing, I know that, and some people are happy with Sunbreak, but yeah. I think
you need to. I think it's very important with an argument. It depends how much you want to argue about it. A lot of people are not argumentative, and I try, even these days, I try not to have that conversation. But I think you have to have the strength of your own opinions and convictions to be able to differentiate between an opinion and something actually becoming worse. I think, in a lot of ways, the direction Monster Hunter went in was going backwards. In some ways, yeah, there was more detail, there was, like, you know, the graphics got better, and it became more engaging in certain ways. There was, you know, crazy, amazing animations. I'm flying around with a wire bug or whatever else. I actually think the monster designs were actually really well done in Sunbreak as well, and, well, Rise in general. But a lot of the fundamentals about Monster Hunter just went backwards. They completely went backwards. And it was all about streamlining. That's the idea. Are we going to sit here and assume that streamlining is always ideal? I think at a certain point, streamlining can be useful. What it does is it reduces unnecessary complexity, but at a certain point you will cross the threshold into actually oversimplifying your game. And I think a lot of the detail in the design of Monster Hunter was just done away with to keep it more simple for casual gamers. Instead of creating a niche where people feel like they're playing a game that they have to work really hard to get good at and take time to understand and experience that failure which leads to learning and understanding how the series works, they just sort of skipped all that and turned it into an anime game, which is all well and good for the people who don't really care about how Monster Hunter used to be. But for the people who do, and for the people like me who play Monster Hunter very regularly, and consider it to be their favorite game series, it's really disappointing when people like myself are just left in the dust. It's like, oh, well, that period of Monster Hunter is over now. That's done.
Yeah.
We're now going to cater for people who wouldn't have even enjoyed the older games if they had played them. But most of them haven't played them. So, you know, and I think that element of it, a lot of those people who haven't played those games don't know what's missing. And if they don't know what's missing, they're not going to sit here calling for the way things used to be. They don't know what it used to be like. So I think it's unfortunate that Capcom went in that direction, but yeah, the way that I do it, or the way that I deal with it, is that I don't sit here complaining about it all that much. I will express dissatisfaction with it, but I'm not going to argue against people about it. I'm not going to push my position. I just don't play those games. I keep away from them. I try to pretend that they don't exist. And the newest one that's coming...
The ignoring thingy,
Yeah.
I was in the same state for a long time. But then were people like constantly asking, and then
they ask
like they ask about it, and then being like protective to their like favorite video game, and I'm like, yo dude, if you enjoy the game, it's all good to you. But I enjoyed every other Monster Hunter game, and this was a mistake for my thinking what they did there, and it doesn't feel like the game I was integrated into the franchise in. And it was completely different despite to all the other games before that. And it didn't... It develops, like, it degenerate itself a little bit. And I liked that thing on Monster Hunter, to dig into the game very deeply and improve on it while you're enjoying the journey into it. And not learning certain monster patterns and just remember you have to use this move on this attack, and not having any flexibility in the combat. And the combat is something that really drags me into this game. I like the combat.
Yeah, I think, you know, naturally people will experience older Monster Hunter differently. I think that if they don't get into the detail of how the game works in their own head when they're playing it, they'll play a game like Rise and they won't realize what's missing. That's the only explanation that I can think of for a person who played the older games but still enjoys Rise. I think it has to be a combination of not just playing the game differently to, say, you or I, and also just not really... I think there's also a desperation to enjoy the newest game. You know, I can think of, like, my friend Ethan, for example, who feels exactly the way I do about old Monster Hunter and new Monster Hunter, but he keeps playing these new games. He keeps trying. He gives it so many chances to win him over, but he will keep finding himself disappointed every time. He just wants to play a new Monster Hunter game that he enjoys, but it's not happening. It's gone, in my opinion. It's never going to happen again. The thing that we valued in old Monster Hunter is gone, and there is now a majority of people who prefer that. So there's not much you can do, unfortunately. I'm actually going to take another bathroom break, because, you know, I've downed a big glass of coffee, I've downed a full beer, and the bathroom calls once more. I'll be back in a moment.
Alright. Ah, shit. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a charge blade matchup. And I failed to guard point. Oh my god. I could just raise my shield up. I have guard +2, not for no reason. We also fight him in an open spot, which is something you shouldn't do. Oh my god. Did he just move to a different location and killed him? Oh my god. That is gonna be a surprise. Damn. He called to remote loss. Can you believe this guy Doomlink taking so many breaks? I mean, the guy is waking up very early in his time, and I'm just in my night times now, and I am pretty thankful for him to screw up his daily rhythm so I can normally play with him. Normally, I should have been waking up in the early hours, and between a Kongalala and me in the morning, there's no much difference. I am totally looking like a strapped fur monkey that eats bananas in the morning. Totally the same. But I have the same issue with coffee, but that's kind of like the thrill of coffee. You need to pee a lot. That's that. Yo, Chisel, thank you for the sub, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 27th month. Is this a bacon shaking with a booty? Chisel? Okay. Nice to see you too. How are you doing, man? I need to get back more into streaming again, but I feel kind of like not sure to stream Tekken because I could play Freedom Midnight again, but I don't have much to do incredibly funny or cool to watch on Twitch for Freedom Midnight actually. I don't know.
I'm back, and it looks like the fact that I got killed by Renopolis actually turned into a bit of a problem.
Yeah. I stupidly forgot how to do guard points, and Valen was Valen.
Damn. Actually,
again, capture a Zelthus. Okay.
Why? This guy needs to stop. If he's doing it for materials, he needs to find another quest to do, because I will happily do a capture quest if it's a key quest. But I'm not doing it for materials, that's shit. I'm just gonna chat to him in the in-game chat. There's just no reason to... I mean, yes, you can capture the monster if you need stuff that drops better when capturing, but don't make it the requirement of the quest. That's really unpleasant.
Yo, Gando, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I thought always about what to do for a 700 follower reward for Twitch chat, but I have no idea what I'm gonna do on that. Glorious emote? You mean the pig with the booty thing? From which streamer is that? It's confusing me. I can't even see it. Whatever. He took on another quest now. Advanced Mean and Green.
Is that still Saltus Queen?
Yeah, but with Kongalala.
Oh, this one again. I wonder what he needs the materials for. I'm trying to remember what you would make from Celtus materials that's worthwhile.
I mean, the helmet is great and the arms are great for Charge Blade. Maybe he's trying to make a new
That's
sad.
funny. I'm using the helmet right now with my current mixed set.
See?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Handicraft, well, hold on, what do I have gemmed in? So, okay. So it's handicraft, +1, artillery +4, sharpness +3. That's pretty good. Right, I don't really feel like using paralysis at this point. I chose it before because I realized it was taking way too long to get ready for the quest. I'll choose something else. What have I not used yet? I guess Hunting Horn. Haven't used that. Do I have a fire hunting horn? That is the question.
Okay, now I see my problem I have with my set here. I miss a skill that is very important to have. For that matchup at least. Which is probably the reason why I died there. Maybe I didn't miss a guard point, I actually got chip damage and died by that.
Peaberry is, in my chat, is criticizing my rainbow color. But the thing is, this is a game where getting the rainbow pigment is actually an achievement. It's completing all offline quests. Or maybe it's just the low rank quests, but yeah, I guess it's all low rank quests. But, you know, there's an achievement for it. So, I don't care if it looks silly.
I mean, you don't get it for free for sure.
Yeah. This is not
in
a fashion
Freedom United,
choice.
it feels like free.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the two monkeys at the very end of the village are a joke.
Yeah. Admittedly, having the rainbow pigment was more... well, I guess, it was more of an achievement in low rank and high rank online play. But, you know, I still like it. Hunting horn time.
Oh yeah. You're playing World again after finishing Elden Ring? Sounds good. Yeah, I wanted to do World again too, but I still have my struggles with that, and I need to make a plan on that. My private life causing me having issues to reach out forward with the stream a little bit. I prepared some stuff for stream, but I lack a little bit about the time to really do and focus on the stuff to maybe do it. I need to do a lot about cleaning on my PC because everything is like messed up and my Iceborne file is like gone and everything's like worse than before, and yeah. And there's even more things I'm planning to do, like the original Frontier kind of thing I want to join into. And even the GU rebalance playthrough would also be interesting to play. These were like the projects I'm working on after the All Award playthrough on Freedom Unite. Just saying it in that way. I should load my files too.
Nope. No. Konglala presented his stomach to me and I got hit. It's like when you intentionally make yourself fat. Just like push out your stomach. That apparently counts as an attack for Green Shitty Monkey.
Lol.
The problem is when he actually falls down here, it's really dangerous because he'll continue to shit. Nicely done.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, that almost became good teamwork, but he died before I could get him out, I think.
Oops. I dropped down for no reason.
This is one of the few relic weapons that I actually have and use. I don't have any other fire hunting horns, and I haven't... Well, if I did check to see if there were better ones to make from regular monster materials, I don't remember anymore what my conclusions were there. So, I think this is a pretty good one. It's technically
know
an
the
unupgraded relic, but it's one of the ones where you just get like extra defense, I think, or I don't know.
Yeah, don't mention my armor sets or like my relics. They're not. I mean, they're legitimately in the game, but they're not legitimately obtained. Let's say it in that way.
Right.
It's actually a weapon that exists in the game, but it's not. It's a speedrun file I'm playing on here.
Oh, I see.
That's the thing. Um, that's the thing. That's why I'm having those equipments, and these were the quickest ones I could recalibrate again, since yeah, I have the issue that I don't have my file or like my armor sets again. And there were also sets that were not speedrun sets, but this is a speedrun set.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I just wanted to play for Ultimate because I knew that you played the game, and I often don't take the time to play it on my own channel, even though I have an endgame save file and really love the game. I think it's just been that I have problems finding people to play with. It's less of a problem now than it used to be. There's actually a lot of people playing for Ultimate these days, because people are playing it on their mobile devices. There's a good percentage of people who play like 2nd to 4th gen Monster Hunter who literally only play on their phones. It's kind of weird, but some people have phones instead of computers in certain parts of the world, so yeah. The fact that that's now possible on mobile devices to play this game on Citron means that there are just generally more random people to play with, which for me encourages me to play, but I still don't do it very often. It's still difficult to find a group to play with for a whole live stream. That tends to be how I approach my live streams. Rather than playing alone, I try to play with random people. It makes it more fun, but it also presents a challenge because I have to try and get a group to play with for a whole live stream. It limits the games that I can play.
You know, the original Frontier has even worse grinding. Since HR6 is endgame, the grind is also endgame level. I mean, first of all, I didn't know about it, but I was expecting it, since it is the original Monster Hunter Frontier. And the other thing is, I have an entire year without a new Monster Hunter game to get through, and the community is spitting out something might be interesting to play on. So why wouldn't I dig my hat into it? Would be my counter question for that. I mean, if you have an entire year of spending time into a new Monster Hunter game, or like at least something that the community creates, and my experience from the community creating something new is mostly positive, why wouldn't I, as a Monster Hunter boomer myself, wouldn't dig into it?
That's a great opportunity to experience the old Frontier.
Exactly.
Like, very few people experience that outside of Japan.
And let's be honest, the community version was not a good version of Frontier. Let's be honest. I appreciated it to play it and dig my hat into Frontier, and I played it multiple times through. But I have to say, I wasn't really happy with a lot of the progression paths on the Frontier community patch, and I told that like a couple of times in the stream already, but it's something that wasn't really planned through properly, at least for me.
So, one thing that I don't understand is the difference between the community version of Frontier and just translated Frontier. Is the game itself translated and then you can have different versions of it, or are the translations actually linked to those different versions?
As much as I know, there was a scrapped version of Frontier, how it was at the very end of date, and people scrapped that on and basically put it into like private servers. I think this is so far I can tell without any illegal activation so far, or like illegal telling. And then there were people actually translating the game and make it more, I think, solo player like friendly, because playing Frontier solo is disgustingly brutal. And I played the original Frontier version solo on myself, but it wasn't that easy to do at all. I barely made it to G rank. And the community version came out, and now getting to G rank was way easier, but the G rank grind was so excessive and so sluggish. It didn't feel really well, to be honest. And
So
it
the
wasn't
G
the
rank
thing.
grind was different in the community version to the actual original version.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Hunter Navi, a system in the game that basically gives you rewards by doing certain quest lines, wasn't or like was existing there, but they gave you so much free armor. So you never had actually to do the G rank grind. You just do the entire Hunter Navi thing and you're being happy with it. And that resulted into people skipping a lot of the G rank grind, which was by the idea not bad, but when they encountered the Zenith monsters, which is like very, very late game G rank level, I mean, you're basically skipping 4 progression paths in Monster Hunter. It is the same idea of, let's say you're late low rank and you're fighting late G rank monsters. This is the same difficulty you're approaching there when you go from beginning of G rank into Zenith monsters. They crush you with everything they do. And of course, they have you have a new hunting style you can use with the extreme style, which has some quality of life perspectives that can help you fighting the Zeniths, but you do no damage to them because of the power creeping you just missed away. And that was basically a thing about the community version I heavily criticized because the progression didn't feel naturally. It was sluggish and it didn't feel like really a Monster Hunter game, and it felt more like a endless grind for tiny boosts of power. They were getting neglected immediately after you get to the next armor set you want to create, and
That's
it doesn't
bullshit.
feel rewarding at all. So people just choose to just get pushed through and carried into the Zenith rank, and then they didn't learn the game. So if they go for Zenith 1 monsters to Zenith 2 monsters, they have encountered the same problems and so on. So it started off for people to get carried from the beginning of G rank to the very end of Zenith rank, and then there you go. That was a weird experience for me, at least. And I played Frontier for a while, and I really enjoyed it. I don't criticize and say it's a shit game or anything, but something about the progression felt unnaturally, and that is something I could go more into detail, but I don't want to, end into like endlessly talking about what could be better in the community version in Frontier. So now we have, at least I heard about the classic version, and I want to see, okay, what was the intended idea behind the grinding in Frontier? Is this something we can learn from, or is this something naturally good? Is it that odd from the handheld video games? What is it really?
Well, many years ago, I would listen to the perspectives that people had on Frontier when they were playing it with the Japanese, and like it was always described as a game where there was a huge grind. Frontier has always been synonymous with heavy grinding, and so you're probably 100% correct that the community version is not well designed when it comes to the grind, but I do have a feeling that Frontier, no matter what, has been a game that will require a lot of monster grinding to actually get what you want.
I mean, the grinding is... I'm okay with grinding.
Yeah.
And for me, grinding is, in the worst case ever, I do an 8-hour session hunting the same monster and getting all the materials I want to for this one armor set. For me, this is adequate grinding. And for some people, it's nothing. For some people, it's devastating, huge amount of grinds.
Yeah.
And the problem about the armor grind is to get a bit into detail and not too much. G-rank armor sets have 3 levels, and each of them have 7 sub-levels of upgrading. And for every 4th and last upgrade, you need a hardcore material. What is a hardcore material? It's a system I like, but it's a system it's badly designed. They're basically hardcore monsters that can approach, and you can log in or log out those hardcore versions of the monster. So basically you're fighting a normal quest, like a normal Rathalos quest, but you can turn it into hardcore. So you're fighting a hardcore Rathalos that has a different moveset, he behaves a little bit different, he looks different, which is something I really love, and he gives different items, especially hardcore carves. And the problem about hardcore carves is not only they're really, really rare to get, they are limited on carves, which means you have 3 chances to get an item that has a 1% chance of dropping, and not tail carve. You can't get that from that. You can only do body carves on the monster to get hardcore carves. And imagine you have to get 6 hardcore carves for every single G rank monster you fight. And those G rank monsters are tough. They're really devastating. Especially if you progress into the game. Even if you get the Hunter Navi rewarding armors for free, you will have a hard time grinding. And this is for 1 armor piece. 1 single armor piece, and you want 4 of them. So the grind keeps on continuing. And it's not only there's like Rathalos, like there's a lot of hardcore monsters. And some hardcore, really good hardcore equipment are from certain monsters also. And they're just devastating hard to deal with. I'm gonna log into for you again. Give me a second.
Cool. I've made a new hub. In response to what you've just described, it's really clear that Capcom were focused on keeping the hunter occupied to the extreme. I think the only reason why this was ever deemed acceptable is because the Japanese players just go along with it. Like, they must be okay with that. So, you know, normally you would look at that perspective that Capcom has, the desire to keep the hunters constantly working on something to the extent where that kind of grind would be deemed acceptable, and you'd think, well, okay, that's all well and good, but what hunter would want to do that? Well, clearly the whole fucking Japanese community.
Yeah, but there was a different idea also, because the thing is, Frontier was a more like an MMORPG, so people kind of like got through a progression in the game, and for them, every hardcore monster or every new feature in Frontier was something new and relieving. You have to think about that kind of thing, like a bonus DLC for your game, right?
Yeah.
And in that way, people were approaching Frontier completely differently, like we do in European or American countries. They didn't have those DLC updates. What we have is an insane huge pile of content that is throwing at us, and we try to dig through it, and we came along with very absurd grinding sessions, and we lose the interest on that, or want to get carried through so we can get to the spicy zenith hunts, which is the thing where people get the most promotion of. They see those super flashy hunts, and they think, oh, I want to commit into that. But that's the wrong false thing where you have Frontier has so many cool stuff from the early beginning, and you're skipping that because you want those flashy fights at the end. But you're gonna save your bottle and go for some loop, because before you go for that fight, you have to learn this game from the roots back again. And that is someone that is already playing this franchise for 20 years, basically. Frontier is testing your skills on each rank over and over again. And I don't talk about fights like double Brachidios on 3 Ultimate, which is hard on progression and stuff like that. These are fights you're fighting 40 plus minutes against a single monster, a bird wyvern, where you think, ha, bird wyverns, what a joke. And you fight this monster and it one-shots you with everything. You play so carefully, you don't want to die, right? And Frontier is testing your skills over and over again in that way. I'm finding, or trying to find the hub again, but I don't find it somehow.
Let's just make sure that you're still...
I think I'm not in the gathering.
Yeah,
group.
so I just
That's the
double-checked,
problem.
and you were indeed booted out of the room, so...
Let's see.
There we
Yeah, now I should find you. Found the problem and solved it immediately. Yeah, to say it in a nutshell, what Frontier is in that way, it's testing your skills along the way, all the time.
Well, I can see very clearly why Frontier stayed in Japan. That's probably the best impression, that's the clearest and most pithy impression that I can give. It is that very obviously it was not designed for the rest of the world. I think, again, a very good point was made in my chat that because it was subscription based, there was an incentive from Capcom to really keep the hunter occupied. You know, don't let them achieve too much too quickly. And I think they went way too far with that. And very obviously, they only got away with it because the Japanese players are just more hardcore. They're built differently. They approach games differently, and I think they have more fortitude, and possibly they're just more dedicated. You know, I consider myself to be pretty passionate about Monster Hunter, but I'm not as dedicated as some of those people are. I mean, you look at the amount of time that some of those people must put into the speedruns that they can achieve, like the times that they can achieve. I actually don't think the difference is that they're somehow better at the game. I don't think that's what it is. I think they just put more time into it. They are more dedicated. And I think it's that dedication that's intrinsic to that community and possibly to that culture that makes something like Frontier acceptable, where it simply wouldn't wash in any other community outside of Japan. Like, you wouldn't do it. People would give up, and people would stop paying the subscription to play the damn game. So,
good point here with the giving up thing. Before the community version was actually represented to the community, the scrapped off first version of Frontier was alive, and a lot of people quitted it after a time because it got so devastating difficult for them, which is no biggie on them. I can 100% understand why they would give up, because the game isn't spoon feeding you like the previous and origin games anymore, and the game is really testing your skills or your patience. For me, it was more of a patience test. I was so sure I wasn't lacking on skill to really beat those monsters, but those HP pools are insanely annoying. Yeah, hardcore Teostra is... I mean, there is a level... I mean, let's say you have Zenith gear. When you have Zenith gear, Teostra is like a Katku for you. Even in hardcore, you don't care about him. You just mash him down in seconds. But if you go for early G-rank hunts and you fight hardcore Teostra, he's a nightmare. He is constantly one-shotting people, and he's just terribly annoying. And there's so many hardcore monsters that do the same thing. The most hardcore Elder Dragons are just very devastating. It's a cool experience for some people to see those hardcore variants, and I like the design fact about those monsters. But in a gameplay perspective, it can be a very terrible experience to that, really. And I can count many hardcore monsters that are just bullshit in any degrees, or certain Zenith monsters that are just insanely stupid designed. Which gives you the feeling you have no chance of surviving, which is oftenly the case. And that's the thing what Frontier does. It's skill testing you on each fight. You do a single position mistake, you die. You forgot to block, you die. You panic dive the wrong attack, you die. You got hit by an attack that you have to roll through, you die. That's the thing. It's very cruel. At least 10 hardcore monsters out of my head. Straight up, I can call bullshit.
I don't think that other guy is going to join us, by the way. I think he might be out.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which is fine. I mean, in fact, Hossein, if you're still around and wanting to play, feel free to join. We may do this quest in the meantime, because I'm not sure if you're, I don't know if you've got your finger to the pulse and ready to join at a moment's notice, but yeah, I think we'll do this now, and then Hossein can join. That is if you're still feeling eager to continue playing, Baynes. I know that you were mentioning before we did the live stream that because you haven't been doing Monster Hunter recently, you might not be in the mood for a long recording, but yeah, just keep me updated
yeah,
on how
I
you
have
feel.
around a half an hour time now, from now on, since it's close to midnight, and I don't want to fuck up my sleep schedule, because that's the first week after multiple months where I get a sleep schedule relatively in pace this time, and I hope I end the stream soon, or like, let's say, in half an hour, and just go to bed.
Yeah, no, we'll aim for that. That's easy. So probably this hunt and maybe one more. Or 3, depending on how quick it is. But I'm guessing it'll be this hunt and one more. That would make sense.
The fun thing is, while we're playing Front for you, I get fun on playing for Ultimate again, and I'm planning maybe to do another 4U playthrough.
You see,
My dedication.
I approach Monster Hunter so differently. I don't do playthroughs. I make one character, and then I put all of my time into that one character, because I want one place to represent the time that I put into the game. Like, I don't want to have to look at multiple characters to see the time that I've put into it. You know, I just want one representation.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
It's just a thing on the playthrough. What I like to do is progression playthroughs, basically, because sometimes I feel like, how does this weapon go through the game, really?
Yeah.
And I find that relatively interesting. It is a mixture of being a nerd and challenging yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, if I want to make the easiest playthrough of my life, I could play certain weapon types and just roll through the game, but this is not always the case what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So just to bring a conversation that's happening in my chat between myself and Hosing into the live stream, your description of how Frontier works, I interpreted it as Capcom deliberately elongating the experience that the hunter is going to have, like making it so that the hunter will spend more time, or the player I should say, will spend more time playing the game because it's subscription-based. This was presented by Peaberry in my chat as a possible reason why, and I 100% agree. I think that the reason why Frontier was designed to keep the hunter spending more time to do the same things as the mainline games is precisely because it's subscription-based. In response to that opinion that I have, Hossein thinks that that would practically be scamming, and is reprehensible enough to just not be realistic. Like, why would Capcom be willing to scam the player by doing something like that? But to me, like, that's pretty standard. I think it makes sense that a game designer would put the effort in to keep the player continuing to play when it's subscription based. It just makes sense. It's like it's a business practice. And I sort of made the comparison that you compare something like that to mobile gaming and microtransactions, and how they encourage people to spend small amounts of money many, many times. And, you know, you look at the moral dimension of that, I mean, that is much worse than anything Capcom's done with Frontier, so I don't think it's unrealistic that that would be Capcom's objective. It is to keep the people subscribed and playing for as long as possible. And as I mentioned before, I think that would really only be possible with the Japanese players. I think they knew that that model would not work outside of Japan,
yeah.
And so that's why it stayed in that country.
I mean, it's kind of like similar to Warcraft, actually. World of Warcraft, this monthly subscription thingy, and Frontier in certain degrees was also a bit pay to win, just to throw some side information to you.
Okay.
There were some weapons that were called net cafe weapons, and they were like basically pay to win weapons. And in the community version, they're not really existing besides on event quests, and people just use those quests and get those weapons. That was the entire back idea about it. But net cafe weapons are just stupid. I mean, we're talking about a weapon that has 1000 paralysis on a sword and shield.
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's pretty bad. I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed that they had pay to win in that game, but yeah. Just goes to show it's a business at the end of the day. I mean, how do you get money out of people? That's how you do it. I think it makes a lot more sense for the game designers to be incentivized to make the best game that they can, and then have people's interest in their results, like their interest in the product that they created, generate the sales, generate the income. Whereas
yeah, exactly.
I think a subscription-based setup is just, it creates all of what we're talking about. Just inflated game progression. Pretty much, you pay more for less. I think the more you create an environment where whoever's making the game can charge you on a continuous basis, the more likely you're going to get less for your money. It's like that with all businesses, really. I do actually love Brute Tigrex. He's probably one of my favorite subspecies. I'm not a huge fan of Tigrex.
I like the
as a monster,
colorization.
but- yeah.
Big colorization fan here. I loved it so much that he was reprinting in World. But then I wait for Molten Tigrex again. And then now people come up, he was in Stories 2 and Stories 1. Who cares about stories? Let's be honest.
Someone has to say
Who
it.
cares? Like...
Well, I think
I played the story through, and that
stories
was
is
all
cool
of
enough,
it.
but I mean, when we're talking about mainline Monster Hunter, it's not. It doesn't exactly help to say, "Oh, but he was in stories." It's like, okay, oh, this monster was in Monster Hunter I for the flip phone. Okay, great. I don't play that, and again, it's not comparable to what we're discussing.
The same thing also with the Axle Axe or certain other weapons that were in different video games on Monster Hunter. I mean, I get that the frontier weapons doesn't really appear on the main franchise at all because they were too flippy floppy. But the Axle Axe, I don't need that weapon. It's like Magnet Spike in a bit nerfed, but still bullshit. What do we gonna do?
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you.
What about Molten Tiggy?
Yeah, we can do that.
As a final hunt, the Molten Tiggy? Who doesn't love that one?
Yeah, that's a crescendo. We'll see if there's a bowgun loadout that might be fun.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to see if he is weak at all to ice, because I'm going to shoot water to start with. But if I run out of water shots, I want to see how much damage ice actually does to him. It's probably not that much, but... Oh no, thunder is actually... No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong bloody armor piece. I tend to look at monster weaknesses through the armor pieces. Feels a little bit more, I don't know, intended than looking at an outside reference. But, yeah. Where the hell is... Oh, maybe it's already 9. I'm probably blind and just not seeing it. There we go. No, that's not it. Excello, that's why I thought... See, I saw Assurient, which is actually Savage Devil Joe, but it's Excello that I want. So, yeah, the primary weakness is water. Ice still seems to be reasonable, so I will bring water and ice shots. Ice will be my secondary form of ammunition.
Oh, it's this light gun.
Yep,
I remember that.
it's lovely. It's really good with multi-monster hunts where you have multiple elemental weaknesses. The natural reaction would be to just use a raw weapon, but you could always use something that can deal multiple elements, and this would be one example of that. It's a great gun. It's probably not going to be necessary, but I will bring combination materials for water and ice, just for good measure.
Yeah, sure. I could fit some too.
Actually, do you know what? That would be easier if you just brought ammunition for me, so just water and ice.
Hold on. Water and ice. Because there's ammo pouch in this game, so it doesn't really make any space in my pouch, which is amazing.
Yep.
Which wasn't a thing in old gen. Nope.
No, weirdly, I hadn't even realized that there was an ammo pouch when you were using a Blade Master weapon. I never noticed that. But it makes sense. Yeah, the gunner's pouch is always there no matter what. That makes sense. Good implementation. Alright. I've got plenty of non-elemental ammo for an emergency situation.
It was great to see you again, Banes. Hopefully we can see you and Doomlink together sooner again. I have to say, Doomlink is the only person that really got the idea of DataBanes. I want to clarify that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
DataBanes is a thing that is created since 2 years, I think, or like 1.5 years. Like basically, it started to boot up when the first time when I got into DataBanes with Doomlink, and everybody on Twitch chat, you don't have to be a streamer. I said that like multiple times. You can just contact me on Discord or even on stream, and you're planning to do a DataBanes thing, and we can make an appointment basically for that. That's the idea. And we can play together. We don't have to be in voice call or anything in that way. We can just go, you know, unga bunga and having fun time, you know? I don't restrict to anyone specifically. And I have a lot of people already done with the DataBanes thing, but nobody really got the idea they can like call on me and do things. I think maybe it has also something to do with me because I was a bit inactive in that way, but I call about that all the time, or like very often in my stream. The great experience I had with Doomlink here, doing a Simulstream. I think he calls it in his stream.
Yeah.
I always had a huge fun time. I never had a bad experience with a DataBanes thing ever, and this is one of the most like fun experiences for me. Because normally you see a lot of solo gameplay on my channel here, so I didn't really get much with the, you know, multiplayer stuff normally, but this DataBanes thing really get me the idea, or like give me the opportunity to do multiplayer streams more oftenly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's probably a little bit different for me in the way that I approach you for these live streams as well, because I'm not so much a viewer. Like, I tend to spend my free time recording rather than watching other people's streams, so I wouldn't class myself as a viewer. But, you know, I enjoy playing with you, and I think the stuff that you do on Twitch and live in general is really good stuff, so yeah.
Thanks for that.
It's good to just do sort of like a collaborative thing, like just doing a live stream together, and it is good fun. So yeah. We'll have to do it more often. I think the only reason why we didn't do it more often than we have done, like the reason why it literally took 2 years for us to do it again, is because our time zones are really, really bad. Like, they do not work together at all. He is almost on the opposite time zone to me. He's about to go to bed, and this time of day is around the time I normally wake up. So, it's literally the opposite. I have to get up very early in the morning to make this happen, and yeah, I can do it more often than every 2 years. That's really infrequent, but yeah, it's never going to be a super common thing. So, but yeah, I think we should definitely
Since I have
try to
shift
do it
work
more often.
too, it's not that easy for me, but
Yeah. No, I mean, with
We can
that taken
try.
into consideration, like, I definitely appreciate you making the time for it, because I can see you've not had that much time to do live streaming normally, so that's definitely appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest. When I was like in surgery for my eyes and stuff, it was way easier to create a Twitch community and being more active on Twitch since I
Yeah.
was going to surgery. So I have a lot of time playing and such. Not that I'm really craving for like a big audience or something, but I see a huge differences. I mean, back in the day when I was a lot at home and streaming, I had around 20 to 25, maybe sometimes 30 people watching me and also doing like 24-hour streams and stuff like that. Not that I
Yeah.
really always craved for that, but it's a feelable difference from the past. And I mean, sometimes people get the wrong idea about like my feeling about Twitch in that way. I never wanted to make Twitch a job or something like that. I was always happy to have just a fun time in my free time to it. I don't take it too professionally, you know. And it's all good for me. So
Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually a little bit disheartening when you realize just how much time you have to spend being live to build a consistent and large audience. It's really quite nasty. Like, you've been there, you've had the time, and then you've had less time, and so it's like night and day. You can actually see what happens. I mean, I also understand it. It's that an audience needs to know that you're going to be live, or know when you're going to be live, and that's what's going to dictate how frequently they join you. I've been very lucky in that I've cultivated a community where I can go live once a week or twice a week, and I'm seeing a lot of the same people. I can even change the time that I'm live, and I'm seeing a lot of the same people. That's very hard to do, but you're still not going to see many people. Like, that's not a large number of people you're going to see. It's going to be like a handful, 5, 10, 15, and, you know, it is disheartening when you have less time, and then you get less out of it when you do eventually come into play, when you've got that time. But in that sort of situation, it's more important than ever to almost develop it's almost like a friendship community, like a group of people that you chat to regularly and that tune in to enjoy your stuff, rather than just random people who are only there for the entertainment in the moment. You know, you have to sort of find people who want to watch you for what you are, rather than background noise, rather than just entertainment right then and there. Because if it's just for the sake of basic level entertainment, they can find someone else to do that job really quickly. It's Twitch, you know. They can turn off immediately
exactly.
and then find someone else. And that's the world of entertainment. That's what being a consumer of entertainment is about. It's not personal, it's whoever will provide the entertainment. The whole point is to try and make it personal as best you can. To try and, you know, develop that community that really wants to see you. And that you can have fun conversations with them. And that's what I've always tried to do. I think I've done a pretty good job with it. And yeah, so I've never personally experienced the Twitch chat. You know, like this crazy, almost troll-like entity. I always hear other people describe it. Those people don't talk on my live streams, because I shit on them really hard when they start talking. So, like, I actually make them feel extremely unwelcome and uncomfortable, and they go away. So, you know, you end up cultivating a community. So, it's just, it works really well. But it's also disheartening when you realize just how much time you have to put into it to really make it like a career, for example. I never really wanted to do that. You've mentioned you didn't want to do that, but when you actually see how much time in your day you would have to spend to make that work, it's crazy. And so draining. I don't know how those people do it. It's miserable. Imagine like your day job, but on top of that you had to be really entertaining and engaging to watch. Like, and then you do that every single
all the
day.
time in the same manner.
Yeah.
You have no break days. You always have to be the super streamer thingy. You always to be the ideal figure of entertainment, the super clown or whatever. You can't have a bad day.
Yeah.
And for me, it was even more difficult to little bit telling it a bit about my slice of life thing I have. I'm a shift worker too, so having a stream schedule for me is insanely difficult since
Yeah.
I have walking shifts, right? And it's not that easy for me. I don't find excuses here. It's just hard to really bring up the message correctly for people, because I don't know if people in Twitch chat do shift work, but doing shift work, having family, having friends, and having hobbies you really want to dig into them, and having Twitch chat together to bring all to all the things together is not easy. And
Nope.
I have to be honest, and I'm always very near to my Twitch chat in terms of that. And I have to be honest to that, and not like I don't care, but I have to be honest to you in that way. If I have to sit a thing or I have to place a thing to side, it's Twitch actually. Not that I don't respect or like Twitch less than everything else. It's just like, for me personally, a different priority.
Yeah.
Because if my mom needs some medical help, I'm gonna help her. If my girlfriend needs something, or my work days need something, I need to be interactive with them, right? So it just makes sense, I think, or I hope I get the message correctly. But I also made a promise to all the people that watch me. Every time I stream, I try to be the super streamer and being super funny and doing monkey noises to make you cheer and laugh and having a great time. I try to give 105% when I stream. I don't stream on 59% or 95%. I always want to give you at least that level. And that is, I'm kind of like Kieran. It's a rare sight to see, but no, it's not fun to fight. But I'm like Kieran, I'm happening and then disappearing, and then I'm happening again. I'm rotating out of your Twitch watch list. That's the thing I am, which is not making promotion here on the wrong channel, by the way.
No.
Follow Doomlink, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, watch him, quick.
Watch him,
subscribe now.
He's so much better. Give him all the money.
The monkey noises are better.
They're more grunting. There's more grunting than on my end. Okay, I have time for one more quest, but it has to be a small one.
Sure. Yeah, something. Well, I would say that Molten Tigrex didn't take that long, but I'd say we'll go for something a little easier.
Okay.
Let's see, maybe a G1 quest. Something weird. How about Berserk Tetsukabra? That's something I very rarely fight.
That's a rare sight, but I'm happy to do so.
Yeah. I can't even remember what he's weak to. I'll have to check.
Yeah, I have a Discord too, if you want to message me about the ItsBaynes thingy. On that. I back in the day had a schedule where you could basically write your name into it and the times you want to play, and I keep my time free for it and we play together. But the thing on that we have right now, me and Doomlink, was actually organized a little bit of weeks ago. It was like, it catched me a little bit randomly, but I offered him to do the thing, and then when I would say, no, I can't, because I don't know, that would be weird if I promote it and don't really make it, which hopefully doesn't give you the feeling that I forcefully do this here, which is not the case. But it's, I have this program on, and it's barely touched by people. I have so much things to offer for the community, but people barely touch it. Let's go for full cam. I have a big shelf behind me with figures and plushies and all the nerd stuff on Monster Hunter. I pay bucks, hundreds of bucks for this franchise. And I could, not that I'm gonna, flex with it or anything in that way, it's just a thing that exists in the stream. But it's barely a thing people ask about it. Even it's in my description. I have plushies, I have that kind of stuff. You can ask me all about it. I could basically twerk for you if you want to. No, I don't do that. Fuck that shit.
Well, that's good news.
That would be also... That's good news. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm sometimes a bit sad because people don't either don't see it or they're not interested into that. And I think I hope it's the first choice, not the second. People don't care about it.
No, we'll keep in mind that if you're going to be on a live stream with someone, I mean, I think it's important that you make the point that they don't have to necessarily be talking with you. But the desire to come on to a live stream and talk alongside the streamer, that's daunting for most people. So I think it's understandable that people haven't taken you up on that. I wouldn't be concerned about it. I'd just advertise it more and just mention it more often. I don't know how often you mention it, but if it's just written in a description, for example, like on your Twitch channel, a lot of people don't see that. And so I'd just make it a regular thing to mention. I'd just be like, and by the way, if you want to play with me, you can. Like, just get in contact with me and I'll arrange something, you know? I've seen people do that. You know, there was there used to be Social Dissonance on YouTube. He still exists, but he used to do the Monster Hunter Tri Let's Play, and he did the Monster Hunter Video podcast, which became the Teamwork podcast. And when he moved into streaming with Monster Hunter, he would constantly have people on the live stream with him, and that's because he really advertised that. He actually had like a regular roster of people who would almost co-host the live stream with him. Now, I didn't really enjoy that. I think it sort of became like it wasn't his show anymore. It was almost like he was sharing the experience a little bit too much. It became less about him and more about them in some situations, but I don't think that's what you're offering necessarily. So I think you should go for it and see where it takes you.
I would love to do co-hosting also. I mean, I have a German friend of mine. We do like a German podcast about Monster Hunter, but I would love to do an English kind of thing too. I don't know if my English is proper enough to do like a talk show kind of thing about Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Just to maybe clarify things or just talk about some Ooga Booga shenanigans on Monster Hunter about it. I would be super up to that. And having like different guests or like a fixed cast with doing it, but having also random guests like, I don't know, like speedrunners or like small streamers. I mean, I'm definitely including myself to be a small streamer, of course. Even more, I think not even no small, like shadowy streamer, like, oh, look at that, it's a rare Kirin, you know, the Kirin invocation again happens again. But it is basically how I see myself being what I am as a streamer. I'm more of a shadow creature that happens sometimes and does some fancy stuff all the time when he streams, more or less. Or more of niche content sometimes too, but it's there.
How is the German Monster Hunter community? Like, do you feel like you've got enough people who would be interested in listening to a German podcast on Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter has a big German community, actually. The thing is just
I knew it did in the past,
I
just wasn't sure if people were still into it over there.
They are. It's just advertising your podcast on stream is insanely difficult because how the YouTube algorithm works, and the video doesn't reach like high views or stuff. So getting an audience is quite difficult. And since my audience on Twitch is international, which is something I really love. Wait, let me make a big bonker damage thing here. Since my audience is international, giving them like an advertisement of a German podcast is so not really intelligent to do. Like, what would they get for an information? I could probably translate what I say there. Not that I use very, like, insanely, like suspectical German, you know, like very strange words or anything. It's easy to translate that.
I think that would be way too much work. I don't think that many people who speak English as a first language would watch a German podcast with subtitles. Like, I would enjoy that, but I think that's a pretty limited number of people. So yeah, I think you'd be putting a lot of work into translating that to just not get much benefit out of it. So, but for what it's worth, if you ever do end up doing an English one, I'd be happy to join you as a guest. I can talk for a long period of time and not shut up. That's one of my talents.
I have actually, I have to be honest. I have 4 videos on my YouTube. One of the videos was basically the first like episode of a playthrough I have that came out big. The other VOD is a 24-hour stream I did, which was my first 24-hour stream that got quite some views. And the other 2 things were ItsBaynes. And I think my most viewed video was actually the stream with you, which is super funny.
Cool.
People rewatched the damn VOD for the talks we had, especially with Incognito that visited us and gave us more impressions about his ideas of modding the game and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had this like very fiery, cool conversation with critiques, but nobody was shitting on each other, and everybody could like get their ideas straight up, and that was
I was trying to be
amazing.
measured with that conversation, but I was getting pretty passionate. I had to moderate my language a bit. And even now, like that, like Incognito Man's work with FU Complete, like after that conversation, he went further. I said to him, you know, you need to be careful. With great power comes great responsibility. And then what he did after that was he literally created Portable Third Hunting Horn in Freedom Unite. So, I mean, he has no reason to heed anything that I say. It's his project, he can do what he wants, but that sort of showed that he didn't take anything I said on board there. Which is fine. Whatever.
Yeah, all good. I mean, I tested out Hunting Horn in the Freedom Unite complete version, but I still missing things. I don't know. The reverting damage thing from Freedom 2 was really good. I say that. But the holding notes kind of thing does barely impact the gameplay on Hunting Horn there. You have sometimes this thing where you can do a little bit of a swing and do a tiny note and then you Gucci, but that's all.
Yeah,
basically.
well, to be fair, I haven't experienced it, so maybe it was misrepresented to me by other people. Maybe it's not that big of a change and doesn't have a big impact, but someone said to me that it was like Portable Third Hunting Horn, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, what? What's he doing? But I'm probably just a bit too much of a purist. To me, if you want Portable Third Hunting Horn, play Portable Third, you know? But that's just my position.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. But sadly, that is for me the end. It was a great cast with you again, and I hope you get some good maths and good fun. I have
100%.
enjoyed it.
We will have to do this more often. Like I said before, it's not going to be a super common thing because I have to get up very early in the morning to do this stuff, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I hope you do as well, so we should make it at least every few months rather than every few years.
I think we can definitely arrange a thing or two here. Just keeping up in contact and just see what we can maybe brought up to make the Simulstream number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, Simulstream number 2 happened, so 3 maybe might come up too.
Yeah, we will see how we go. But yeah.
Alright, then I say see ya, and maybe we see us in chat or the next time.
Yeah. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.